Nestled amidst the pristine wilderness of the last frontier lies a darker side of Alaska, one where the line between the living and the dead blurs. From the icy shores of the Bering Sea to the towering peaks of the Wrangell Mountains, Alaska's haunted hotels beckon the brave and the curious. These establishments, steeped in history and mystery, offer more than just a place to rest. They promise encounters with the unknown. The Alaskan Hotel and Bar in Juneau, Alaska, is more than just a historic building. It is a living repository of stories, a place where the past lingers like a shadow across its hallways. Built in 1913, it has stood through more than a century of Alaskan history, witnessing the gold rush era, prohibition, the expansion of Juneau as a city, and countless travelers who have passed through its doors. But alongside its reputation as a welcoming hotel lies a darker, more enigmatic side of presence that many claim can still be felt today. From the moment guests step into the Alaskan Hotel and Bar, they are met with an atmosphere that seems steeped in both history and mystery. The wooden floors, polished over decades of footsteps, creak at times for no apparent reason. The dim lighting casts long shadows across the walls, and the framed photographs of long-gone patrons and gold rush pioneers seem to watch silently, their eyes following those who linger too long. Many visitors have reported a feeling of being watched, a subtle chill brushing across their necks, even on the warmest Alaskan days. One of the most persistent legends revolves around the spirits of former employees, particularly bartenders and performers who worked in the hotel during its early years. During the gold rush, the bar was a hotspot for miners seeking respite from the harsh Alaskan wilderness. These miners often carried heavy burdens, both physical and emotional, and the energy of their sorrow and frustration is said to have left an imprint on the building. Guests have reported hearing the faint clinking of glasses in the middle of the night, the soft murmur of conversations that fade when approached, and even the smell of cigars and whiskey lingering in empty rooms. Room 103 has become infamous among those who frequent the hotel for paranormal reasons. Several guests have claimed to see shadowy figures moving across the room, especially near the old fireplace. Some describe a man in period clothing, a miner perhaps, pacing silently as if waiting for someone. Others report waking in the middle of the night to find the blankets tugged off their bodies, only to see no one in the room. One visitor, a seasoned ghost hunter, noted that their equipment recorded sudden drops in temperature and inexplicable electromagnetic readings, particularly around the headboard and corners of the room. The piano in the lobby has also been a source of strange occurrences. Though no one has played it in years, guests often hear soft, melancholic music echoing through the main hall. Some believe it is the spirit of a pianist from the 1920s who entertained miners and travelers alike. Witnesses describe hearing full melodies, complete with pauses and crescendos, as if the unseen musician is performing for an invisible audience. Occasionally, the piano bench shifts on its own, and the keys depress lightly, as though fingers long gone are still reaching for the notes. The bar area itself has a reputation for being particularly active. Staff members recount glasses moving on their own, stools being knocked over without explanation, and bottles rattling as if in response to unseen hands. Some visitors claim to feel a warm, almost oppressive presence while seated at the bar, a sensation that vanishes when they leave. One particularly eerie story involves a patron who, after ordering a drink late at night, reported seeing a figure standing behind the bar, a bartender who had died decades earlier. The figure silently poured a drink, then vanished when the patron blinked, leaving the glass full and untouched on the counter. Employees have also shared tales that are less easily explained. Housekeepers report items being moved or misplaced overnight, only to reappear in their original spots later, sometimes with no memory of where they had been. Cleaning staff occasionally hear footsteps echoing down hallways where no one else is present, and some have even felt light touches on their shoulders or backs, as if someone is guiding them. Though unsettling, these encounters are usually described as harmless, as if the spirits are more curious than malicious. The hotel's long history has also led to darker stories. Prohibition-era secrets, hidden rooms, and illicit activities may have left emotional residues, particularly in areas of the building used for private gatherings. Some believe these echoes manifest as sudden chills, whispering voices, and fleeting shadows. Guests report seeing objects move without cause, doors open and close on their own, and the sensation of being followed while walking the dimly lit corridors. One couple staying on the second floor recounted waking to find their bedroom door slowly creaking open, and a shadowy figure standing silently at the foot of their bed before vanishing. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the Alaskan Hotel and Bar continues to draw visitors intrigued by its blend of history and mystery. Some come seeking ghostly encounters, while others simply wish to experience a piece of Juneau's storied past. Tourists and locals alike report a strange mix of warmth and unease, as if the building itself acknowledges the living while honoring the memories of those who have passed. The Alaskan Hotel and Bar stands as a unique convergence of history and the supernatural. Its walls have absorbed more than a century of human emotion, laughter, despair, hope, and sorrow. These energies manifest in ways that defy explanation. From flickering lights and cold spots to shadowy figures and ethereal music, whether skeptic or believer, anyone who spends time within its halls cannot help but feel the weight of its past pressing gently against the present. Even today, the hotel continues to host travelers, adventurers, and ghost hunters, each drawn by the allure of its haunted legacy. Visitors leave with stories of unexplained phenomena and lingering impressions, many returning year after year, hoping for another glimpse into the mysteries that inhabit the Alaskan Hotel and Bar. In a place where the wilderness meets the urban, where history is etched into every creaking floorboard, the spirits of Juneau's past remain ever present, patiently waiting for those willing to notice, to listen, and perhaps to believe. The Alaskan Hotel and Bar is not just a place to sleep or dine. It is a living monument to a bygone era, where the stories of miners, performers, travelers, and long-gone patrons continue to unfold. Every corner, every shadow, every whisper serves as a reminder that in this hotel, the past never truly leaves, it lingers, unseen, shaping the experiences of all who enter. The historic Anchorage Hotel in Anchorage, Alaska, has long stood as a silent witness to the city's evolution, a place where history and mystery intertwine. Established in 1916, it is one of the oldest continuously operating hotels in the region, a living testament to Anchorage's growth from a small railroad town into a bustling Alaskan city. Visitors come for its convenient location and charming old-world architecture, but many leave with stories of experiences that defy logic, encounters that hint at a presence beyond the realm of the living. From the moment one steps into the hotel's lobby, there is a sense of history layered upon every surface. The wooden floors creaked with the memory of countless footsteps, and the dim glow of vintage lamps casts long shadows that seem to move independently. The walls are adorned with photographs of Anchorage's early days, images of railroad workers, miners, and pioneers, frozen in time. Yet some guests claim these eyes follow them as they walk by, creating a sensation that someone or something is always observing. Room 212 has become notorious among those who frequent the hotel for paranormal reasons. Several guests have reported waking in the middle of the night to find their belongings disturbed, furniture subtly shifted, or personal items missing, and then inexplicably returned to their original places. Some describe an invisible presence pacing the room or standing near the doorway, only to vanish when approached. One guest recounted feeling a cold breath on their neck as they slept, the temperature dropping dramatically despite a warm Alaskan summer night. Others have captured faint, unexplained sounds on audio recorders, whispers, footsteps, and the soft slam of doors, all when no one else was present. The hotel's corridors are another hotspot for strange activity. Many guests report hearing footsteps echoing down the hall at night, only to find the hall empty when investigated. Doors open and close on their own, and lights flicker with no electrical cause. Housekeeping staff have shared stories of rooms where towels and linens are mysteriously rearranged, or where cleaning carts seem to move slightly overnight. Some have even felt sudden touches on their shoulders, or the sensation of someone standing behind them. Yet turning around reveals nothing. These encounters, while unsettling, rarely feel threatening. The presence seems more curious than malevolent, as if the spirits are simply acknowledging the living world. The hotel's bar area, though quiet for much of the day, has its own share of spectral tales. Guests have reported hearing the clinking of glasses, laughter, and even the faint strains of piano music late into the night. One bartender claimed that, while cleaning after closing, she saw a shadowy figure sitting at the end of the bar, drinking a non-existent beverage. When she approached, the figure dissolved into the shadows, leaving no trace other than the lingering scent of tobacco and whiskey. Others have noted that chairs sometimes scrape across the floor as if moved by invisible patrons, and the old cash register occasionally opens on its own, accompanied by a metallic jingling. One particularly chilling story involves a guest who stayed on the third floor, an area of the hotel reputedly tied to tragic events during the early 20th century. This guest awoke in the middle of the night to find the room's old radiator rattling violently. A shadow appeared near the window, framed by the faint moonlight, and slowly moved toward the bed. The guest, frozen with fear, watched as the figure hovered over them for several moments before dissipating. By morning, the room was as it had been, with no signs of disturbance other than a lingering coldness that refused to dissipate. The hotel's history contributes to its enigmatic reputation. During the early years, Anchorage saw rapid growth due to the construction of the Alaska Railroad, and the historic Anchorage Hotel served as a temporary home for laborers, miners, and entrepreneurs. With so many lives passing through its doors, some filled with hope, others with despair, it is believed that the emotional energy of these experiences has left lasting imprints. Guests and staff alike have reported sensing an almost tangible atmosphere, a weight of history that seems to hum quietly through the walls, corridors, and rooms. The hotel's lobby, with its vintage decor and aged furnishings, is often the site of subtle but inexplicable occurrences. Guests report objects shifting slightly, chairs scraping as if someone just stood, and the sound of a low, murmuring voice just beyond comprehension. Some visitors claim to feel cold drafts or a sensation of being lightly touched as they walk by certain corners. Tourists often laugh nervously at first, dismissing these sensations as tricks of old buildings. Yet many return with stories confirming that these experiences are very real. Housekeeping and maintenance staff offer additional anecdotes. Some have noticed the lights flickering when no one is near, doors closing gently on their own, or the sound of footsteps trailing them through hallways where no one else is present. One longtime employee swore she saw a figure in early 20th century attire staring at her from the top of the staircase before vanishing. Another described hearing muffled piano music coming from the bar area during early morning hours when the building should have been silent. Despite its haunted reputation, the historic Anchorage Hotel remains a popular destination. Many travelers are drawn not only to its central location and historic charm, but also to the allure of its ghostly tales. Paranormal enthusiasts, history buffs, and curious tourists alike come seeking an encounter, some hoping to glimpse a shadow, hear a whisper, or feel the presence of a spirit from Anchorage's past. The stories have become part of the hotel's identity, adding an extra layer of intrigue to its already storied past. The historic Anchorage Hotel is more than just a place to stay. It is a monument to the passage of time, a repository of memories, both joyful and sorrowful. Its walls have absorbed the hopes, fears, and emotions of countless guests over more than a century, creating an atmosphere that is both welcoming and enigmatic. Those who visit often leave with a sense of having brushed against something beyond ordinary, perception a fleeting glimpse into the lives of those who once called the hotel home. Even today, as Anchorage thrives and modern buildings rise around it, the historic Anchorage Hotel stands as a testament to a bygone era. The footsteps echo, the whispers linger, and the shadows move in ways that cannot be explained. For those who enter its doors, the hotel offers more than a room. It offers a connection to the past, an encounter with the unknown, and a story that will stay with them long after they have checked out. It is a place where history lives, where spirits remain, and where the mysteries of Anchorage continue to unfold. The Van Gilder Hotel in Seward, Alaska, stands as one of the town's oldest establishments. A relic of a bygone era when Alaska's coastal towns were bustling hubs for miners, fishermen, and adventurers seeking opportunity at the edge of the wilderness. Built in the early 1900s, the hotel has weathered the harsh coastal climate, economic booms and busts, and decades of visitors seeking both comfort and refuge from the rugged Alaskan landscape. Its sturdy wooden frame and welcoming lobby suggest warmth and safety. But those who linger a little longer often report experiences that hint at something far more mysterious. Over the years, the Van Gilder Hotel has gained a reputation not just for its historical charm, but for the ghostly presences and unexplained phenomena that seem to linger in its hallways and rooms. Seward itself is a town steeped in maritime history. Fishermen, miners, and explorers once poured into the town seeking fortune, and the stories of hardship and tragedy quickly became part of the local lore. The Van Gilder Hotel, as one of the earliest inns in the area, naturally absorbed these stories. Guests have long spoken of hearing footsteps echoing through the halls late at night, long after the lobby has emptied and the wind howls against the windows. Sometimes, the footsteps move methodically, as if someone is pacing with purpose. At other times, they seem erratic, like a visitor caught in distress. Yet when the lights are turned on, or doors opened, the hallways are always empty, leaving a lingering sense of unease. One of the most commonly reported apparitions is that of a man believed to be a long-departed fisherman or prospector. Witnesses describe him as tall, with weathered features and clothing reminiscent of the early 20th century, often seen wandering the corridors in silence. Some guests have claimed to see him standing near the lobby fireplace, staring into the flames with a distant, mournful expression. When approached, he fades into the shadows as if he were never there. Local legend suggests that he may have been a worker who met a tragic end on the harsh Alaskan coast and never found his way home, leaving his spirit tethered to the hotel where he once sought warmth and respite. The hotel's rooms are no less active. Guests report waking in the middle of the night to find the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of their bed, or the unmistakable pressure of a presence leaning over them. Faint whispers, too low to be intelligible, are often heard near the headboards, and some travelers have described the feeling of being watched even when alone. One longtime visitor told of a door slamming shut behind him as he entered his room, though no wind or guest could have caused it, leaving him too frightened to spend the night in that particular suite. Another recurring story involves a woman dressed in early 1900s attire, her hair pinned neatly and her gaze distant, as though she is searching for someone lost to time. She is sometimes seen walking the halls or standing silently by the windows, staring out at the frozen landscape and the dark waters of Resurrection Bay. Several visitors insist that she radiates sadness, and while she has never been described as threatening, her presence is undeniably unsettling. Some speculate she may have been a resident or traveler who passed away unexpectedly, her spirit lingering in the hotel as she waits for loved ones who never returned. The Van Gilder Hotel's bar and common areas are also known for unusual activity. Guests have described glasses sliding across counters, chairs shifting slightly when no one is near, and sudden drops in temperature that leave them shivering despite roaring fires. One bartender recounted an incident in which the jukebox, unplugged for years, suddenly began to play a scratchy, old-fashioned tune in the dead of night. Patrons and staff alike were silent, watching as the music seemed to come from nowhere, stopping abruptly after only a few minutes. Such experiences have become part of the hotel's lore, adding a layer of mystery to its historic charm. The basement and storage areas are said to hold some of the strongest activity. Staff members speak of footsteps echoing in empty corridors, doors opening and closing on their own, and the occasional glimpse of a shadow moving against the dim light. One maintenance worker swore he saw a figure crouched among the crates, only to disappear when he turned on his flashlight. Others describe a heavy feeling in the air, as if the building itself exhales, a pressure that can be felt pressing against the chest and shoulders. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the Van Gilder Hotel continues to attract visitors from around the world. Tourists come for the beauty of Seward, for access to Resurrection Bay, and to explore the nearby Kenai Fjords National Park. Many leave with nothing more than a fond memory of rustic Alaskan hospitality. Others leave with stories of shadows at the edge of vision, whispers in the hallways, and the sensation that the hotel's long-departed residents are quietly watching over them. Paranormal investigators have set up equipment in the building, recording unexplained sounds, capturing orbs of light, and occasionally detecting temperature anomalies that defy logical explanation. The enduring presence of these spirits seems to serve as a bridge between Seward's past and present. The Van Gilder Hotel, in its decades of operation, has witnessed the comings and goings of thousands of guests, workers, and locals. The energy of those lives, along with the town's harsh history of maritime tragedy and frontier hardship, may have left an imprint that continues to manifest in subtle, chilling ways. Guests often describe a sense that the hotel remembers, that it carries with it the lives and stories of those who have walked its halls before them. For those who spend a night at the Van Gilder Hotel, the experience is more than just a stay. It is a connection to the history of Seward, to the harsh beauty of Alaska, and to the lingering spirits who refuse to leave. The hotel offers warmth and comfort, but also a subtle reminder that the past is never truly gone, and that some presences remain long after the living have moved on. It is a place where history, mystery, and the supernatural converge, leaving visitors with memories they cannot fully explain but will never forget. The Hotel Seward, located in the small coastal town of Seward, Alaska, is a place where the past lingers in ways both visible and unseen. Nestled near the harbor and surrounded by the towering Kenai Mountains, the hotel stands as one of the oldest and most historic lodgings in the area. For many travelers, it offers a charming glimpse into Alaska's frontier heritage, with its rustic, antique furnishings and photographs that line the walls, telling the story of Seward's early days. Yet, beneath its warm welcome and nostalgic charm, the Hotel Seward carries with it an aura of mystery. Guests and employees alike have shared tales of ghostly encounters, unexplained noises, and a presence that suggests the building is more than just a place to rest one's head. The hotel has undergone several renovations over the decades, but it still holds the bones of its earliest structure. Some believe that when a place has stood so long, especially in a rugged town shaped by hardship, tragedy, and survival, it naturally absorbs the energy of the past. Seward itself is no stranger to hardship. The town has endured devastating storms, fires, and most notably, the 1964 Good Friday earthquake, which was followed by a tsunami that nearly wiped it off the map. Many lives were lost in those moments of chaos, and residents whispered that the spirits of the departed may have found refuge in familiar places like the Hotel Seward, tethered there by memories that never faded. One of the most frequently told stories is that of a ghostly woman who is said to wander the hallways late at night. Guests describe her as dressed in old-fashioned clothing, with a long skirt and shawl, her figure pale and faint, as though half here and half gone. She is often seen near the staircases or in the second-floor corridors, moving silently, her expression unreadable. Some speculate she may have been a long-ago guest who died in the hotel, or perhaps a local woman seeking shelter during one of the town's many disasters. Whatever her origin, her presence leaves behind a cold stillness, and those who encounter her often say they felt watched even after she disappeared. Another common report involves disembodied sounds. Guests have awakened to the distinct creaking of footsteps in the hallway outside their room, steady and deliberate, as if someone is pacing. When they look, the hall is empty. In some rooms, people claim to hear knocking at the doors in the middle of the night, followed by silence when they check. There are even accounts of faint voices, like muffled conversations drifting through the walls, though the adjoining rooms were unoccupied at the time. One guest described waking to hear a woman's laughter right beside the bed, though no one was there when they opened their eyes. Housekeepers have walked into freshly cleaned rooms only to find items mysteriously moved, or the impression of a person sitting on the bed, though no one had checked in. Some staff members refuse to go into certain rooms alone, citing an oppressive heaviness in the air that makes them feel watched. The front desk clerks, particularly those working overnight, report hearing the lobby doors open and close on their own, accompanied by the soft sound of footsteps crossing the wooden floor. Yet, when they look up, the lobby is empty. One of the eeriest tales connected to the hotel sewer involves the basement. Long considered the most unsettling part of the building, the basement is where storage and maintenance equipment is kept, but many employees dread going down there. Some say they've felt sudden drops in temperature, while others speak of shadows darting quickly across the walls, far too fast to be tricks of the light. A maintenance worker once reported hearing breathing in the darkness behind him, slow and heavy, though he was completely alone. Stories like this have fueled the belief that something darker resides in the depths of the hotel, perhaps tied to its long history of survival through disaster. Guests who have stayed at the hotel sewer also tell of vivid and personal experiences. One woman recounted waking in the middle of the night to see a figure standing by the window in her room. It appeared to be a man, broad-shouldered and dressed in clothing from another era, staring silently out at the harbor. When she spoke, the figure turned slowly toward her before vanishing into thin air. Another traveler described finding the rocking chair in his room gently moving back and forth on its own, the creak of the wood steady and rhythmic, as though an unseen guest was passing the time. Though some of these stories are frightening, not all the spirits at the hotel sewer are described as hostile. A few guests have reported feeling comforted by the unseen presence, as if the spirits are protective rather than threatening. One couple staying during the harsh winter months claimed that, when the storm outside grew violent, rattling the windows and plunging the street into darkness, they felt an invisible warmth in their room. The sense of calm was so strong that they fell asleep easily, despite the storm raging outside. They later insisted it felt as though someone or something was watching over them. Paranormal investigators who have visited the hotel describe it as one of the most active locations in Seward. Some claim to have recorded electronic voice phenomena, faint whispers caught on tape when no one else was present. Others report unexplained spikes on their equipment, temperature drops, and even the sensation of being touched by unseen hands. While skeptics argue that the creaks and drafts are simply the quirks of an old building, those who have experienced the unexplained firsthand leave convinced that there is more to the hotel sewer than meets the eye. For many, the hotel's haunted reputation only adds to its charm. Travelers come to Seward seeking adventure, from fishing excursions to glacier tours. But those who stay at the hotel Seward often leave with a story that lingers long after the trip is over. The hotel is more than just a resting place. It's a portal to the past, a living reminder of the town's struggles and triumphs, and perhaps a gathering place for the souls who refuse to leave. Staying at the hotel Seward is to step into history, both celebrated and shadowed. Its walls hold memories of laughter and love, but also echoes of sorrow and tragedy. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, it is impossible to deny the sense of presence that permeates its halls. For some, it is unsettling. For others, it is strangely comforting. But for all who visit, the experience leaves a lasting impression. In Seward, where the mountains meet the sea and the past refuses to fade, the hotel Seward stands as both a historic treasure and a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels remarkably thin. The Arctic Hotel in Nome, Alaska, is a landmark steeped in both history and mystery. Built in the early 20th century during the height of the gold rush, the hotel has long served as a gathering place for miners, fortune seekers, and travelers braving the harsh frontier of the far north. With its sturdy frame and warm interior, it offered comfort against the brutal Alaskan winters and the isolation of life on the edge of the Arctic Circle. Yet beneath its welcoming exterior lies a reputation that has endured for generations. A reputation not only for its colorful past, but for the ghostly legends and unexplained encounters that continue to this day. Nome itself is a place of survival. Winds whip across the barren tundra, and the icy waters of the Bering Sea crash against the shore. Life here has always been a battle against the elements, and such places tend to hold on to the energy of those who lived and died in them. The Arctic Hotel, standing as one of the oldest establishments in Nome, is said to have absorbed that energy, becoming a resting place not just for weary travelers, but for restless spirits who never moved on. Stories of paranormal activity at the Arctic Hotel have circulated for decades. Guests often report hearing footsteps in the hallways late at night, steady and deliberate, echoing across the old wooden floors even when the halls are empty. Some claim the steps stop outside their doors, followed by a faint knocking, but when they open the door, no one is there. Others describe the sound of hushed voices in the rooms next to theirs, carrying on muffled conversations, only to learn that the adjoining rooms were unoccupied. One of the most chilling and recurring stories is that of a man who appears in the bar area long after closing. Bartenders and staff have described him as tall, wearing miner's clothing from another era, boots caked in mud, a rough jacket, and a wide-brimmed hat shadowing his face. He often sits at the end of the bar, silent, staring into nothing. If anyone tries to approach him, he vanishes before their eyes. Local lore suggests he may have been one of the countless gold prospectors who found misfortune in Nome, his spirit forever tied to the hotel where he once sought warmth and company. The rooms of the Arctic Hotel are no less active. Travelers have awakened to the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of their bed, the mattress dipping under unseen weight. Some describe hearing the sound of breathing in the dark, low and steady, as though another person were sharing the room with them. A few claim to have actually seen shadowy figures standing silently in the corners, watching but never moving, dissolving into the air when the lights are turned on. One particularly unnerving account involves a guest who awoke in the middle of the night to find the rocking chair in his room slowly moving back and forth, creaking in the silence. At first he thought it might be a draft, but the motion was steady and deliberate, as though someone unseen was calmly rocking, waiting. He left the room in a panic and refused to sleep there again. The basement of the hotel is another place steeped in mystery. Employees who ventured down there for storage often speak of an oppressive heaviness in the air, accompanied by sudden chills. Some say they've heard whispers in the darkness, voices that seem to come from the walls themselves. A maintenance worker once reported tools moving on their own, clattering across the floor when no one was near them. The basement's reputation has become so unsettling that many staff members avoid it whenever possible, entering only when absolutely necessary. Despite the unease, not all of the spirits said to linger in the Arctic Hotel are considered malevolent. Some guests have spoken of encounters that felt oddly protective. A woman traveling alone recalled that during a particularly violent storm, she heard what sounded like a man's voice softly telling her to stay calm. She insisted that the voice comforted her, and although she was alone in her room, she felt safe enough to fall back asleep. Another visitor claimed that she felt a gentle hand brush against her shoulder while she was sitting at the writing desk, a presence that felt more like reassurance than fear. Still, certain stories suggest something darker may dwell within the hotel. A recurring tale involves mirrors. Several guests have said they glimpsed faces staring back at them that were not their own, men and women in clothing from another century. Their expressions somber, their eyes fixed with intensity. These visions vanish in an instant, leaving guests rattled and unsure if they had imagined them. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Arctic Hotel claim to have recorded strange anomalies around the mirrors, including unexplained energy spikes and faint whispering voices picked up on equipment. Nome's rugged history only adds to the legends. The gold rush brought thousands of prospectors, many of whom met untimely ends through violence, illness, or the unforgiving climate. The town has seen its share of tragedy, and locals believe that much of that sorrow has seeped into its buildings. The Arctic Hotel, having stood through much of it, may serve as a vessel for the echoes of those who perished. Some even believe the spirits there are tied not to the hotel itself, but to the land, drawn to it as a familiar place of shelter in the afterlife. For travelers who come to Nome today, Staying at the Arctic Hotel is more than just a stopover. It's an experience steeped in both history and mystery. Some leave with nothing more than stories of hearty meals and warm beds, while others leave with memories they can't quite explain. A shadow in the corner, footsteps that followed them, or whispers in the dark that chilled their blood. The hotel remains a place where the line between the past and present feels thin, where the voices of long-gone miners and weary travelers may still linger, carried through the creaking halls like the wind off the Bering Sea. The Arctic Hotel is a testament to Nome's resilience, a reminder of its gold rush heritage, and a beacon for those who still come seeking adventure in Alaska's frontier. But it is also a place where the dead are said to walk alongside the living, where history is not only remembered but relived in ghostly fragments. To stay there is to experience more than just comfort. It is to open the door to encounters with a world that refuses to stay silent, a world that still breathes within the Arctic Hotel's walls. The totem in Ketchikan, Alaska, stands as more than just a place to rest after a long day of fishing or exploring the rugged wilderness. Nestled in a town where the mountains meet the sea and the fog rolls in like a curtain, the inn has gained a reputation not only for its comfort, but also for its connection to things beyond the ordinary. Travelers who arrive expecting a quiet stay often find themselves swept into an atmosphere thick with stories of lingering spirits, mysterious encounters, and whispers of a history that refuses to stay buried. Ketchikan itself is a place where legends come alive, known for its deep ties to native Alaskan culture, with towering totems that guard its land and history. The town already carries an aura of spiritual presence. The totem borrows from this heritage, not just in name, but in essence. Many locals claim that the land it was built upon holds energy that amplifies the strange and unexplained. From the moment visitors step inside, they sometimes feel a shift in temperature or a prickle at the back of the neck, as though unseen eyes are watching. Guests have long reported unusual phenomena in their rooms. Some speak of waking in the dead of night to the sound of footsteps in the hall, even when no one is there. Others describe the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, the mattress dipping under unseen weight before springing back into place. A few have said they awoke to see a shadowy figure standing silently in the corner, its form indistinct yet undeniably human. The figure never approaches, only lingers until the witness summons the courage to blink or switch on a light, at which point the vision vanishes. One of the most consistent stories involves a sound of faint chanting, low and rhythmic, drifting through the corridors late at night. Guests who have heard it say it resembles a traditional tribal song, but muffled, as though carried through the walls. Staff have admitted they too have heard it during overnight shifts. But when they check the hallways, they find nothing but silence and empty air. This eerie music is never explained, and some wonder if it is an echo from long ago, when ceremonies and storytelling filled the land long before the inn was constructed. The bar and dining area of the Totem Inn are said to host their own mysteries. A bartender once described glasses sliding across the counter on their own, moving several inches as though pushed by an unseen hand. Late at night, when the place is closed and locked, chairs are sometimes found rearranged by morning, though the security system shows no signs of intrusion. Patrons have also reported a woman in old-fashioned clothing appearing briefly at one of the tables. She is described as wearing a long skirt and shawl, her face pale and sad, her eyes fixed on something far away. By the time anyone notices her fully, she fades into the air as though she was never there. Staff members have come to respect the spirits said to roam the inn. Some say they leave small offerings, flowers, stones, or trinkets in quiet corners, a gesture meant to appease whatever energies remain. They speak of rooms that never quite feel empty, of cold drafts that sweep through locked spaces, and of electrical devices that flicker or fail without explanation. Though unnerving, these events rarely feel malicious. Many describe the presence as watchful rather than threatening, as though the inn's unseen inhabitants are content simply to remind the living of their existence. Travelers who stay at the Totem Inn often share their stories after returning home, Sometimes years later, a fisherman once recalled waking to find his catch of the day, which he had stored in a cooler, mysteriously arranged on the floor of his room in the shape of a circle. Another guest, a woman traveling alone, swore that her suitcase was unpacked neatly while she slept, her clothes folded and placed in drawers, despite her insistence that she had left everything locked inside. There are whispers that some of the activity may be tied to a tragic event. Local rumor suggests that years ago, before the inn was built, a small dwelling on the property caught fire, taking the lives of a family inside. Though official records are scarce, the story persists, handed down in hushed tones. Some believe the mother of that family is the woman seen in the dining room, forever searching for what she lost. Others think the chanting voices belong to elders long past, whose connection to the land was so strong that even death could not sever it. Ketchikan's long rainy nights and the ever-present fog only add to the inn's atmosphere. Visitors describe stepping outside into the mist after hearing strange sounds, only to find the entire street empty, the damp air pressing in from all sides. The inn seems to breathe with the town itself, its walls holding secrets of the past and echoing with fragments of voices no longer bound to the living world. Despite, or perhaps because of its ghostly reputation, the Totem Inn remains a popular stop for travelers. Some come specifically hoping to witness the paranormal, while others arrive unaware, only to leave with stories that defy explanation. It is a place where history, culture, and the supernatural intertwine, creating an experience that lingers long after checkout. For those who dare to spend the night, the Totem Inn offers more than a bed and shelter from the Alaskan rain. It offers the chance to step into a realm where the boundaries between past and present blur, where unseen forces brush against the edges of perception, and where every creak of the floorboards or whisper of the wind might be something more. In Ketchikan, the land itself tells stories, and at the Totem Inn, those stories sometimes take on a life of their own. The Hotel Captain Cook in Anchorage, Alaska, is more than just a luxury hotel, with sweeping views of the Cook Inlet and the Chugach Mountains. Built in the aftermath of the devastating 1964 Good Friday earthquake, the hotel was meant to symbolize resilience and renewal for the city. Named after the famed British explorer who charted Alaska's coastline in the 18th century, it carries with it a legacy of exploration and survival. But beneath its polished reputation as Anchorage's most iconic hotel, there lingers a darker reputation, one tied to unexplained events, ghostly encounters, and stories that suggest the past has never truly left its halls. Guests who check into the Hotel Captain Cook often expect opulence, fine dining, and an atmosphere of history and sophistication. Yet many leave with far more than memories of hospitality. Over the years, countless visitors and even employees have reported strange occurrences that defy logic. From ghostly apparitions in hallways to the chilling sensation of being watched, the hotel has earned a reputation as one of Anchorage's most haunted places. One of the most enduring stories centers around the tragic legend of the Lady in White. Guests and staff alike have described seeing a woman dressed in a flowing white gown wandering the upper floors of the hotel, especially near the stairwells and quieter corridors. She is said to appear suddenly, her expression sorrowful, her form almost translucent. Some who encounter her claim she seems lost, as if searching for something or someone she cannot find. According to local lore, she is the spirit of a young woman who took her own life in the hotel many years ago, heartbroken after the end of a love affair. Whether fact or embellished legend, her presence is one of the most reported phenomena at the Captain Cook. The atmosphere of the hotel itself contributes to the stories. With its labyrinth of corridors, rich, dark wood interiors, and towering height that overlooks the often fog-shrouded city, the building creates the perfect stage for eerie encounters. Guests have reported hearing footsteps echoing behind them in the halls, only to turn and find no one there. Others describe doors that open and close on their own, lights flickering without cause, and sudden cold drafts that sweep through rooms even when the heating is on full. One unsettling tale involves the elevators. Several guests have reported entering the elevators late at night, only to find them stopping on floors that no button was pressed for. The doors open slowly, revealing empty hallways bathed in a dim, flickering glow. Some who dared to step out describe an overwhelming sense of dread, as if they were intruding on a space not meant for the living. A few even claim they saw fleeting shadows moving just out of sight before the elevator doors closed again. The hotel staff, while professional and discreet, do not deny the presence of unusual activity. Night employees, particularly those who work the overnight shift, share whispered stories of hearing disembodied voices, laughter in empty banquet rooms, and the faint sound of music drifting from deserted lounges. Cleaning staff have reported entering freshly cleaned rooms only to find beds disturbed, water running in the bathroom, or objects moved as though someone invisible had been staying there. Despite the unnerving nature of these events, many workers describe the spirits as watchful but not malevolent, more restless than threatening. The Captain Cook-esque connection to Anchorage's history deepens the sense that it holds more than just modern-day guests. Built as a response to disaster, its very foundations are tied to themes of survival, tragedy, and renewal. Some paranormal enthusiasts believe the land beneath the hotel itself contributes to its haunted reputation. Anchorage is a city marked by the scars of natural disaster. An energy from the earthquake that destroyed much of the city in 1964 is said to linger in the ground, manifesting as strange phenomena. In addition to the lady in white, there are reports of other apparitions. One recurring figure is that of a man dressed in a dark suit, often seen near the stairwells or in the lobby late at night. Guests who have seen him describe him as sharply dressed, with a solemn expression, and always silent. Some speculate he may be connected to Anchorage's early days, perhaps a businessman or politician who stayed at the hotel in its early years and never truly left. Others think he may be a darker presence, watching rather than wandering. A few particularly chilling accounts come from travelers who have stayed on the higher floors. Some report waking to find a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, unmoving, simply staring until they turn on the light at which point the figure vanishes instantly. Others have described waking to the sensation of someone lying next to them in bed, the mattress dipping under weight, though no one is there. These accounts have been consistent enough that entire floors of the hotel are now regarded as especially active by those who seek paranormal experiences. Not all stories at the Captain Cook are frightening. Some visitors describe encounters that feel comforting rather than menacing. One guest recalled being gently woken from sleep by a hand on their shoulder, only to find the room empty. Another claimed to smell a faint scent of perfume, sweet and floral, even though they were alone. These softer experiences suggest that not all the spirits tied to the hotel carry sadness. Some may simply be lingering, bound to a place that was significant in their lives. For Anchorage, a city caught between modern development and rugged wilderness, the Hotel Captain Cook represents both history and mystery. It is a place where explorers, politicians, fishermen, and tourists have all crossed paths. Yet alongside its living guests, there seems to be an unspoken acknowledgement that the dead, too, walk its halls. Whether drawn by tragedy, unfinished business, or simply love for a place that stands as a beacon in the Alaskan landscape, the spirits of the Captain Cook refuse to fade away. To stay at the Hotel Captain Cook is to experience more than just Alaskan hospitality. It is to step into a building that feels alive in more ways than one, a place where every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of wind against the windows might carry with it the memory of someone who walked there long before. For some, the experience is unsettling, a reminder that the veil between worlds can be thin. For others, it is a thrill, a chance to brush against the mysteries of life and death. Whatever the truth may be, the Captain Cook stands as one of Anchorage's most storied landmarks, both luxurious and haunted, a place where history and the supernatural converge. The Hotel Captain Cook in Anchorage, Alaska, is a place of grandeur and history, a towering symbol of resilience after the devastating 1964 Good Friday earthquake, named after the legendary explorer who mapped much of Alaska's rugged coastline. The hotel was built to embody strength, culture, and luxury in a city still healing from tragedy. With its rich wood interiors, labyrinthine halls, and commanding views of Cook Inlet and the Chuguk Mountains, it quickly became the crown jewel of Anchorage hospitality. Yet, despite its elegance, the hotel is whispered to hold more than just travelers and dignitaries. Over the years, it has also become the stage for eerie encounters, unexplained phenomena, and stories that have cemented its reputation as one of Alaska's most haunted landmarks. One of the most well-known legends tied to the hotel is that of the Lady in White. Guests and employees alike have described her a sorrowful woman, dressed in a long, flowing white gown, often spotted wandering near the stairwells or lingering in the quieter corridors of the upper floors. Witnesses say her presence is sudden and chilling, her expression full of longing and despair. She is believed to be the spirit of a young woman who, heartbroken over a tragic love affair, took her own life within the hotel decades ago. Whether or not her story is grounded in fact, the sightings have been consistent enough to make her the most frequently mentioned apparition in the building. Many guests who encounter her are left shaken, claiming her eyes seem to silently plead before she vanishes into the dim light. Beyond the Lady in White, the hotel itself creates an atmosphere ripe for the paranormal. Its maze of corridors, shadow-filled corners, and quiet staircases provide the perfect setting for unexplainable moments. Guests often speak of footsteps echoing down empty halls or the distinct sound of doors closing in unoccupied rooms. Some report lights flickering in patterns that seem deliberate, while others have experienced sudden bursts of icy cold air that linger even when the hotel's heating system is on full blast. One of the eeriest recurring accounts involves the elevators. Several visitors have entered the elevator car late at night, pressed their desired floor, and found themselves inexplicably taken to floors they never selected. When the doors open, the hallways beyond are silent and dim, filled with a strange heaviness in the air. Some guests describe feeling frozen in place, overwhelmed by a sense of being watched from just beyond their vision. A few even swear they've seen figures darting across the hallways in these moments, only to disappear before their eyes. Hotel staff, particularly those working overnight shifts, have their own library of stories. Cleaning crews have walked into freshly prepared rooms, only to find beds turned down, water running in bathrooms, or items shifted from their original places. Security guards patrolling the empty banquet halls have heard faint laughter, glasses clinking, and even strains of music, only to open the doors and find nothing but silence. Bartenders have spoken of glasses sliding slightly along the counter, as though nudged by invisible hands. Despite the unsettling nature of these occurrences, employees often describe the presence in the hotel as watchful rather than hostile, an echo of lives that once touched the place, rather than spirits intent on harm. Some accounts are far more personal. A number of guests have awakened in the middle of the night to find shadowy figures at the foot of their bed. These shapes, dark and indistinct, stand silently until the terrified guest turns on the light, at which point they dissolve into nothingness. Others have reported the sensation of someone sitting on the bed beside them, the mattress sinking as though under another person's weight, even though the room is empty. One traveler recalled waking to a gentle hand resting on their shoulder, only to discover they were alone, the room still and silent. Anchorage residents often speculate that the energy of the land itself plays a role in the hotel's paranormal reputation. The city, scarred deeply by the 1964 earthquake, holds layers of collective trauma. Many believe that such immense energy leaves imprints on places, creating thin spaces between the living and the dead. The hotel Captain Cook, rising as a phoenix after the quake, may have absorbed some of that lingering sorrow and energy. Paranormal enthusiasts argue that the hotel's very foundations rest on ground infused with restless echoes of the past. Not all of the hotel stories are chilling. Some seem almost tender. Guests have described the faint scent of perfume drifting through their rooms, sweet and floral, though they are entirely alone. Others say they hear soft humming, a melody they cannot place, which fades the moment they try to focus on it. These encounters feel less like hauntings and more like gentle reminders that the past remains present, watching over rather than frightening the living. Still, certain figures seem impossible to dismiss. Alongside the lady in white, multiple guests have seen a tall man in a dark suit wandering near the stairwells or passing silently through the lobby. Always silent, always solemn, he vanishes quickly, leaving witnesses unsure if they saw a ghost or a guest dressed from another era. His identity remains a mystery, though theories range from a businessman of Anchorage's early years to a politician or dignitary who never left the hotel that once hosted him. For many who visit, the Captain Cook's haunted reputation is part of its allure. Paranormal investigators and curious travelers alike check in, hoping to experience something unexplainable. Some leave disappointed, with nothing more than a luxurious stay, while others leave with stories they will never forget. A night at the Captain Cook can be an ordinary visitor, a brush with something beyond comprehension. In Anchorage, a city where wilderness and modern life constantly intersect, the Hotel Captain Cook embodies both resilience and mystery. Its walls hold the weight of history, its hallways echo with voices that may not belong to the living, and its rooms provide more than rest. They offer encounters with the unknown. Whether one views it as a haunted place or simply a building rich with energy and memory, the hotel remains one of Alaska's most fascinating landmarks. Guests arrive seeking comfort and leave with something far stranger. The sense that the veil between worlds is thinner here, and that some stories refuse to stay in the past. The Hotel Seward in Seward, Alaska, is a historic establishment that has stood at the edge of Resurrection Bay for over a century. Built in the early 1900s, it quickly became a hub for travelers, fishermen, and adventurers who braved the harsh Alaskan wilderness in search of opportunity and adventure. Its wooden frame, creaking floors, and cozy rooms have welcomed generations of visitors. But beneath its charming exterior lies a reputation that has only grown over the decades, one for ghostly presences, strange noises, and unexplained events that have left guests both fascinated and unsettled. From the moment guests step inside, there is a palpable sense that the hotel is steeped in history. The lobby, with its worn wooden furniture, stone fireplace, and antique radiates warmth and nostalgia, yet it also carries a weight of unseen energy. Travelers have long reported hearing footsteps echoing in the hallways late at night. Footsteps that are heavy and deliberate, yet vanish when investigated. Some claim that doors open and close by themselves, lights flicker without reason, and whispers drift through the air as if the walls themselves are speaking. These subtle but persistent phenomena have cemented the Hotel Seward's place in the town's local lore. Among the most commonly reported apparitions is a fisherman believed to have perished in the bay decades ago. Witnesses describe him as tall, wearing a weathered coat and hat, his eyes distant and sad. He is often seen wandering the hallways or standing silently near the windows, gazing toward the waters of Resurrection Bay. When approached, he vanishes, leaving behind a lingering chill and the faint scent of salt and seaweed. Locals suggest that he may be one of the many souls lost to the treacherous waters, returning to the hotel where he once sought shelter and warmth. Guests who have glimpsed him often describe a sense of melancholy, as if the spirit is eternally searching for something it never found in life. The rooms themselves are known to harbor unusual activity. Guests frequently awaken in the middle of the night to find their doors gently closing or opening on their own. Some report the sensation of a presence sitting at the edge of the bed, a soft brush against their skin, or the faint sound of someone breathing nearby. Others claim to hear whispers that are too low to decipher, or the quiet shuffle of footsteps pacing the floor. One longtime visitor told a story of waking to a shadowy figure standing in the corner of the room, only to disappear as he blinked, leaving him questioning whether he had truly seen anything at all. Another commonly reported spirit is that of a woman, often described as wearing clothing from the early 1900s. She is seen wandering the hallways, or standing silently in the lobby, sometimes gazing out the windows toward the snow-covered mountains or the icy waters of the bay. Guests describe her as serene yet sorrowful, and while she is generally considered non-threatening, her presence is undeniably eerie. Local legend suggests that she may have been a resident or a traveler who succumbed to the harsh conditions of early Alaskan life, her spirit lingering in the hotel as if waiting for someone who never returned. The bar and dining areas of the hotel have their own share of unexplained activity. Staff members report objects moving on their own glasses, sliding across the counter, chairs shifting slightly when no one is near Rand, sudden drops in temperature that leave patrons shivering despite roaring fires. One bartender recalled an instance when the jukebox, long unplugged and unused, suddenly played an old tune late at night. The melody echoed through the empty space before abruptly stopping, leaving staff and guests alike staring in silence. Such incidents, though unsettling, have become part of the hotel's unique charm, contributing to the sense that the past is never truly gone. The hotel's basement and storage areas are particularly active, according to staff accounts. Lights flicker, crates appear to shift, and some workers report feeling a presence brushing past them in the dimly lit corridors. One maintenance worker described a moment when he turned a corner and saw a shadowy figure crouched among stacked boxes, only for it to vanish when he shined his flashlight. Others speak of a heavy, almost tangible pressure in the air, a sensation that seems to press down on the chest and shoulders, as if the building itself is aware of their presence. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Hotel Seward report that the activity is heightened during certain times of the year, particularly in the long nights of winter when the darkness seems to stretch endlessly across the bay. EMF meters spike without cause, audio recordings capture whispers and faint footsteps, and cameras sometimes reveal orbs or shadowy figures invisible to the naked eye. For many guests, these experiences are both thrilling and unnerving, adding a layer of mystery to an already historic property. Despite its haunted reputation, the Hotel Seward continues to attract visitors from across the globe. Tourists come for its proximity to the natural wonders of Seward, including Kenai Fjords, National Park, glaciers, and abundant wildlife. Some leave with nothing more than memories of Alaska's rugged beauty, while others carry stories of shadowy figures, cold spots, and whispers that cannot be explained. The hotel has become a bridge between the past and present, a place where history lingers in tangible ways, and where the spirits of those who lived and died in the area seem unwilling to fully leave. For those who stay at the Hotel Seward, the experience is more than just a comfortable night's rest. It is a connection to the lives and stories of the past, to the harsh beauty of Alaska, and to the lingering presence of the unseen. The hotel stands as a reminder that history is never truly gone, that some souls remain tethered to the places they loved, and that in a town like Seward, where the wilderness is both beautiful and unforgiving, the line between the living and the dead can be unexpectedly thin. Visitors leave with memories they cannot fully explain, but ones that will linger in their minds. Much like the echoes of footsteps in the silent hallways of the Hotel Seward, the Arctic Hotel in Nome, Alaska, is a landmark steeped in history, located in a town that has long been synonymous with gold rush dreams, harsh winters, and the relentless forces of nature. Established in the early 20th century during Nome's heyday as a mining and trade hub, the hotel quickly became a refuge for prospectors, adventurers, and travelers seeking warmth and comfort in a place where survival was never guaranteed. Its weathered facade, sturdy wooden construction, and inviting lobby suggest a welcoming respite from the bitter Alaskan cold. Yet those who have spent a night within its walls often recount experiences that defy explanation. Over time, the Arctic Hotel has earned a reputation not only for its history and charm, but also for the supernatural energy that seems to linger long after the living have departed. Nome itself is a town shaped by extremes. Summers are short, winters long and bitterly cold, and the frozen tundra stretches in every direction as far as the eye can see. It was in this unforgiving environment that miners and settlers built their lives. And inevitably, some of those lives ended tragically. Many of the spirits said to haunt the Arctic Hotel are believed to be former miners, prospectors, or travelers who met untimely deaths in the harsh surroundings. Guests report that these spirits linger, tethered to the hotel that once offered safety, and sometimes their presence can be felt even decades after their passing. The lobby of the Arctic Hotel is often the first place visitors notice something unusual. While its antique and roaring fireplace exude warmth, some guests say they feel a sudden drop in temperature in certain corners, accompanied by the faint whisper of voices that cannot be traced to any source. Footsteps echo through the hallways late at night, heavy and purposeful, though the corridors remain empty when investigated. Doors creak open and shut on their own, and occasionally, lights flicker without explanation, creating an unsettling atmosphere that contrasts sharply with the comfort the hotel offers by day. One of the most commonly reported spirits is that of a miner from Nome's Gold Rush era. Witnesses describe him as a rugged man in period clothing, often wearing a coat and hat, his expression weary yet determined. He has been seen pacing the hallways, disappearing into the shadows when approached. Some guests claim to have seen him standing near the lobby windows, gazing out toward the frozen streets as if keeping watch over the town. Locals suggest that he may have been a prospector who never returned from a dangerous expedition, his spirit returning to the hotel where he once sought shelter and companionship. The miner is generally regarded as a neutral presence, neither threatening nor malevolent, but undeniably watchful. Other reported apparitions include a woman dressed in early 20th century attire, often seen in the hotel's upper floors. Guests describe her as pale and ghostly, her expression distant and sorrowful. She is sometimes observed standing silently in hallways or near windows, as if searching for someone lost long ago. Some believe she may have been a relative of a prospector or a traveler who died in Nome's harsh winters, her spirit forever lingering in the place where she once sought refuge. Witnesses often report feeling a sense of melancholy when encountering her, a heavy sadness that seems to permeate the air around her figure. The hotel's rooms are hotspots for paranormal activity. Guests often awaken in the middle of the night to find the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of their bed, or the faint brush of a presence against their skin. Doors may open or close without explanation, and cold spots appear suddenly, even when heaters are running. Some visitors have reported whispers so soft that they can barely hear them, yet they are distinct enough to cause unease. A few claim that objects on desks or dressers shift slightly overnight, though no one else has been in the room. These phenomena are often concentrated in the older sections of the hotel, where original furnishings and architecture remain intact, preserving the energy of the past. Staff members of the Arctic Hotel have long been familiar with the building's unusual tendencies. They report hearing footsteps in empty hallways, seeing shadows pass through rooms, and sensing presences in areas no guest occupies. One longtime employee told of walking through the lobby late at night, only to see the faint outline of a man standing near the fireplace, vanishing as he approached. Another recalled a room where the air would suddenly turn frigid, accompanied by the faint scent of smoke and minerals, despite the absence of a fireplace or other source. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Arctic Hotel report heightened activity during long winter nights. When Nome is shrouded in darkness for weeks at a time, EMF meters spike unexpectedly, audio recordings capture unexplained whispers, and cameras occasionally detect faint orbs or shadowy figures in unoccupied areas. Many theorize that the combination of Nome's extreme environment, the history of hardship, and the building's age contribute to an energy that bridges the living and the spirit world. Despite the chilling stories, the Arctic Hotel remains a popular destination for travelers. Visitors come for its historical significance, its rustic charm, and its proximity to Nome's iconic landscapes and wilderness. While some guests leave with nothing more than memories of the Alaskan frontier, others carry with them tales of shadowy figures, mysterious sounds, and the overwhelming sense that the hotel is not entirely empty. The Arctic Hotel is more than a place to sleep, is a repository of Nome's history and human experience. Within its walls reside the echoes of miners, settlers, and travelers who braved the extremes of Alaska and sometimes did not survive. For those who spend a night here, the experience is both humbling and unnerving, a chance to connect with the past in a way that feels immediate and alive. In Nome, where the wilderness dominates and survival has always been uncertain, the Arctic Hotel stands as a reminder that some spirits, like the memories of those who came before, never truly leave. The Fairbanks Inn in Fairbanks, Alaska, is a place where history and hauntings walk hand in hand, and where the cold, unforgiving air of the North seems to carry voices from another time. Built in the early days of Fairbanks' boomtown era, the inn once stood as a refuge for weary travelers, gold miners, and trappers who braved the wilderness in search of fortune. Though modest in size compared to the towering hotels that would later define Alaska's cities, the Fairbanks Inn had an undeniable charm. Its wooden frame, creaking staircases, and narrow hallways told the story of a town carved out of ice and ambition. Yet beneath the warmth of its hearth and the laughter of its guests, whispers of tragedy and restless spirits lingered, forever marking the inn as one of Alaska's most haunted establishments. Guests over the decades have described a strange sensation upon entering the inn, as though unseen eyes were watching from the shadowed corners. The upstairs rooms, especially those tucked away at the end of the hallway, are said to carry an unnatural chill even in the heat of summer. One of the most persistent legends tied to the inn is the tale of a miner who never left. According to old records, a prospector checked into the inn in the early 1900s with bags of gold dust hidden away in his trunk. He was never seen again. Some say he was murdered in his sleep by another guest who caught wind of his treasure, while others insist he fell ill and died suddenly, his fortune vanishing with him. Whatever the truth, visitors claim to see his shadow pacing the hallways, his boots echoing on the wooden floor long after midnight. More chilling are the reports of guests awakening to see a bearded man standing at the foot of their bed, only for him to dissolve into the air as they blink. The inn's history is not without sorrow, for in the harsh winters of Fairbanks, illness often spread quickly through the town. Cared for by her young daughter in one of the upstairs rooms, the woman passed away before help could arrive, leaving the child inconsolable. Even now, guests in that particular room recount the sound of soft crying at night, as if a child still mourns the loss of her mother. Staff members who have worked at the inn for years speak of toys inexplicably moving from one place to another, and of faint giggles echoing down the hallway when no children are present. The bar area, once a lively meeting place for miners and loggers, holds its own mysteries. Patrons have described glasses sliding across the counter on their own, bottles rattling against the shelves, and sudden drops in temperature that leave them shivering despite roaring fires. One bartender recalls an evening when the jukebox, long unplugged and unused, suddenly began to play a scratchy, old-fashioned tune. No one could explain how it started or why it stopped so abruptly, but the entire room fell silent, feeling as though they had momentarily slipped back in time. Another infamous story involves a longtime caretaker who devoted much of his life to tending the inn. He passed away in one of the upper rooms, and many believe his spirit never truly departed. Guests and staff alike claim to hear his heavy footsteps on the stairs, making rounds as though checking to ensure the building is safe. Lights flicker on and off in rooms he once favored, and some visitors say they have felt a comforting hand on their shoulder, as if the caretaker himself is making sure they are welcome. Unlike the miner's restless spirit or the child's mournful cries, the caretaker is seen as a protective presence, keeping watch over the inn he so deeply loved. Even the basement of the Fairbanks Inn carries its own set of strange occurrences. Used for storage, it is a place where few staff members linger longer than necessary. Stories circulate of strange whispers rising from the darkness, of shadows darting between stacked crates, and of a suffocating presence that sends even the bravest running back upstairs. One employee swears she saw a figure crouched in the corner, its eyes reflecting like an animal's in the dim light, only for it to vanish when she flipped the switch. Whether it is connected to the miner's missing treasure or to some older, darker history, no one knows for sure. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the Fairbanks Inn continues to welcome guests from around the world. Paranormal investigators have set up their equipment within its walls, capturing unexplained voices, strange orbs of light, and even recordings of footsteps when no one else was present. Tourists often book rooms specifically to test the legends, sometimes leaving in the middle of the night when the experience becomes too real. There is something about the inn that feels timeless, as though the past refuses to fully surrender to the present. Each creak of the floorboards, each flicker of the lamps, each sigh of the wind against its walls adds to the feeling that the inn itself remembers every story, every joy, and every sorrow that has unfolded within its rooms. The spirits that linger here do not seem bound by malice, but by memory forever, tied to the place where their lives ended, or where their hearts remained. Today, the Fairbanks Inn stands as both a living piece of Alaskan history and a monument to its mysteries. Travelers come for the comfort of a warm bed in a town where winter nights stretch long and cold. But many leave with stories of encounters they cannot explain, from the miner searching endlessly for his lost fortune, to the child crying softly for her mother, to the loyal caretaker who still tends his beloved, and the building hums with the presence of those who never checked out. It is a reminder that in Alaska, a land of harsh beauty and enduring legends, the past is never as distant as it seems, and sometimes it walks right alongside the living. The Northern Lights in Fairbanks, Alaska, carries with it an atmosphere that is at once breathtaking and unsettling. Surrounded by the vast, frozen expanse of the Alaskan wilderness, the inn offers a front-row seat to one of nature's greatest wonders, the shimmering aurora borealis that dances across the night sky. Travelers often come to the inn for its remote beauty and warmth, yet many leave with stories that chill them far more than the sub-zero winds outside. The inn, with its rustic charm and creaking wooden walls, has a reputation for being more than just a place to stay. Some say it is a passage between two worlds, a place where the natural splendor of the auroras meets the unexplainable whispers of the supernatural. Built during the mid-20th century, when Fairbanks was beginning to flourish as both a trade hub and a frontier city, the Northern Lights Inn originally catered to miners, hunters, and travelers braving the treacherous Alaskan roads. Over time, as tourism grew, it became a cozy lodge for those eager to experience the aurora. Its reputation for comfort and warmth made it popular, but locals have always spoken in hushed tones about the things seen and heard within its halls. Unlike other inns that cling to luxury, the Northern Lights Inn has retained its frontier spirit with dim lighting, hand-carved wooden beams, and rooms that feel as if they've absorbed decades of laughter, sorrow, and something else that lingers, something unseen. Guests often remark first on the inn's atmosphere. During the day, the building feels inviting, warmed by the constant crackling of a large fireplace in the lobby. At night, however, the mood changes. Shadows stretch oddly across the walls. The wind whistles through the eaves in tones that resemble voices, and footsteps echo in empty corridors. It is as though the inn takes on a personality of its own once the sun sets and the auroras flicker across the sky. Many visitors have reported strange occurrences during these late hours, doors opening and closing on their own, whispers coming from unoccupied rooms, and the unnerving sensation of being watched as they try to sleep. One of the most persistent stories surrounding the Northern Lights Inn is that of a woman in white, often seen standing near the large picture windows that overlook the snow-covered landscape. Guests describe her as tall, graceful, and sad, her face pale and distant as though she is searching for something just out of reach. When approached, she vanishes without a sound. Some locals believe she is the spirit of a woman who once waited for her husband, a miner who disappeared in a winter storm decades ago. Legend says she stayed at the inn night after night, hoping he would return, until grief finally consumed her. Now, her restless spirit lingers, tethered to the place where she once kept vigil. Other encounters are less sorrowful and more disturbing. Several guests have claimed to wake in the middle of the night to find shadowy figures standing in their rooms, unmoving and silent. These figures, often described as tall and faceless, disappear when the lights are turned on but leave behind a suffocating sense of dread. Some say these shadows are tied to the land itself, remnants of the indigenous legends that speak of spirits wandering beneath the northern lights. According to folklore, the aurora is not just a natural display, but a manifestation of souls traveling across the sky. For those who believe in such stories, the inn is not merely haunted by individuals, but by the restless energy of the land and sky themselves. One former employee, a night clerk who worked at the inn for several years, recounted his experiences with great hesitation. He often heard footsteps on the upper floor when no guests were staying there, as well as the sound of heavy boots pacing back and forth in the lobby during the quietest hours of the night. On more than one occasion, he swore he saw someone walk past the front desk, only to find the hallway empty when he checked. The most unnerving event, he said, happened one winter evening when he glanced up from his logbook to see a man staring at him from the far end of the lobby. The man's face was indistinct, blurred as though hidden by smoke, and when the clerk stood to approach, the figure simply faded into the air. Paranormal investigators, who have stayed at the Northern Lights, report that the activity seems to spike during nights of strong aurora activity. Some speculate that the electromagnetic energy from the auroras could act as a conduit for spirits, fueling their presence in the physical world. Audio recordings have picked up faint voices, including one that whispered, "Stay," in a female tone. Cold spots are common in hallways, even when the heating system is fully functioning, and several photographs have captured strange mists or orbs near the windows where the woman in white is most often seen. Yet, despite these eerie tales, the inn continues to attract visitors from around the world. Many who come for the ghost stories leave with nothing more than a quiet night and a view of the aurora, while others take with them unsettling memories they cannot explain. The inn itself seems to thrive on this balance between beauty and fear, offering both wonder and unease in equal measure. It is a place where the line between the living and the dead feels unusually thin, where every creak of the floorboards or flicker of the fire might hold another story waiting to be told. For those who dare to spend a night at the Northern Lights Inn, the experience is unforgettable. Some come seeking the majesty of the aurora and leave speaking of shadows, whispers, and fleeting apparitions. Others come for the thrill of the supernatural, only to find themselves humbled by the beauty of the northern sky. Either way, the inn stands as a place where Alaska's natural wonders and supernatural mysteries intertwine, a reminder that in the frozen heart of the North, not everything can be explained. It remains a beacon for travelers seeking more than just a night's rest in where the living and the spectral coexist. Beneath the haunting glow of the Northern Lights, the Chena Hot Springs Resort, nestled deep in the Alaskan wilderness about 60 miles northeast of Fairbanks, is a place where the natural beauty of the Arctic collides with an atmosphere charged with mystery and the supernatural. Known for its therapeutic hot springs, dazzling views of the aurora borealis, and remote setting, the resort draws visitors from around the world seeking both relaxation and wonder. Yet behind its rustic charm and soothing geothermal waters lies another side of Chanawan, whispered about by guests, workers, and locals who speak of strange sightings, eerie sounds, and ghostly presences that haunt the property. The resort's history stretches back to the early 1900s, when gold prospectors discovered the steaming pools bubbling up from beneath the frozen ground. Word of the hot springs quickly spread, and soon travelers, miners, and settlers made their way to the remote valley to experience its healing waters. Early accounts tell of injured miners soaking their battered bodies in the steaming pools, claiming the mineral-rich waters worked miracles on broken bones and aching muscles. But with the rise of a small community around the springs came the inevitable hardships of life in the Arctic harsh winters: isolation, accidents, and untimely deaths. Many believe those who perished in this rugged wilderness have never truly left. Guests staying overnight at the resort often report unexplainable occurrences, particularly within the cabins and older sections of the main lodge. Some describe waking in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps pacing the hallways, only to find no one there. Others speak of doors opening and closing on their own, or of the distinct sensation of being watched, even in the solitude of their rooms. Staff members admit that many refuse to work alone at night in certain areas, particularly the older cabins closest to the springs, where shadows are said to move of their own accord. One of the most frequently reported apparitions is that of a miner, dressed in tattered work clothes and carrying an old lantern. He is often spotted near the springs themselves, as if eternally guarding the waters he once relied upon for relief. Witnesses say his ghostly figure glows faintly in the mist rising from the pools, only to vanish as quickly as it appears. Some believe he may have been a prospector who succumbed to the brutal conditions of the wilderness, while others speculate that he drowned in the steaming pools long ago, his spirit bound forever to the healing waters that once brought him comfort. Inside the main lodge, guests often mention encounters with a female presence. She is described as wearing a long dress from the early 20th century, her hair pinned up in an old-fashioned style. Several visitors have claimed to see her wandering the hallways or standing silently near windows, gazing out toward the snow-covered landscape. Employees whisper that she may have been one of the early settlers, perhaps the wife of a miner, who died tragically during one of the fierce winters that isolated the valley. Cold spots, sudden drafts, and the sound of faint weeping are often associated with her appearances. Perhaps the most unsettling stories come from those who have stayed in the cabins closest to the forest edge. Guests report waking to find shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to dissolve into darkness when the lights are turned on. Some describe hearing voices whispering their names just before falling asleep, while others recount vivid nightmares that seem to blur into waking reality. On more than one occasion, guests have fled their rooms in the middle of the night, too terrified to return until daylight. The hot springs themselves are also said to carry an energy that many find unexplainable. Visitors often speak of feeling an overwhelming presence when soaking alone at night, as though unseen eyes are watching from the tree line. Some report hearing splashing or movement in the water when no one else is near. The combination of geothermal activity, the surrounding wilderness, and the proximity to the aurora borealis seems to create an atmosphere that heightens the senses, making the boundary between the natural and supernatural feel razor-thin. Even paranormal investigators who have visited Chena Hot Springs claim the resort is alive with unexplained activity. EMF meters spike without cause, recordings capture mysterious voices, and cameras pick up fleeting orbs of light in areas where no natural explanation exists. One group even claimed to have captured the faint image of a man standing near the steaming pools, visible in photographs, though not seen by the naked eye at the time. Adding to the eerie atmosphere is the Aurora Ice Museum, a year-round structure made entirely of ice located on the resort grounds. While it is a marvel of engineering and artistry, some visitors insist it also harbors strange energy. Reports of sudden chills, faint whispers, and the sensation of being touched while exploring the frozen halls are common. Some speculate that the ice itself has trapped memories of the past, holding on to echoes of those who once called the valley home. Yet despite its haunted reputation, the Chena Hot Springs Resort continues to thrive as one of Alaska's most unique destinations. Visitors come for the chance to soak beneath the northern lights, to explore the rugged wilderness, and to experience the allure of a place where history and mystery intertwine. For many, the stories of ghosts and spirits only add to the resort's charm, offering a glimpse into the lives and afterlives of those who came before. Whether it is the restless spirits of miners, the lonely echoes of settlers, or the powerful energy of the springs themselves, something lingers at Chena that cannot be easily explained. For those who visit, the resort offers more than just relaxation and beauty. It offers an encounter with the unknown, a reminder that even in the most remote corners of the world, the past still whispers, and the line between the living and the dead is never as solid as it seems. The Denali Park Hotel in Healy, Alaska, is not a towering resort or a grand old inn, but rather a modest collection of long ranch-style buildings that were once part of a military barracks. On the surface, it may not appear to be a place that carries tales of the supernatural, but beneath its unassuming exterior lies a reputation for being one of the most haunted accommodations Near Denali National Park, guests who come seeking a quiet night's rest before exploring the wilderness often find themselves confronting something far more unsettling: the lingering presence of spirits that refuse to leave. The hotel's origins trace back to the days when it was part of the military housing built during World War II. After the war, the buildings were relocated and repurposed into lodging for travelers, hunters, and eventually tourists heading into Denali. While the rustic charm of the hotel appeals to many, it also seems that its history has left a mark. Former servicemen, weary travelers, and those who never finished their journeys are believed to roam its halls. The atmosphere, particularly at night, is thick with an unexplainable weight, as though countless stories remain trapped within its walls. One of the most commonly reported spirits is that of a soldier. Guests describe seeing a tall figure, dressed in what appears to be an old military uniform, walking the length of the corridors in silence. His steps echo faintly, but when guests follow the sound, they find nothing. Some who have caught fleeting glimpses say his expression is somber, as if carrying the burden of something unfinished. Employees, who have grown used to the presence, call him the soldier, and many believe he is one of the men who once lived in the barracks, still pacing the grounds where his life once revolved around duty and discipline. Another unsettling experience recounted by visitors involves phantom knocking on the doors. Guests describe being awoken in the dead of night by a loud, deliberate series of knocks. When they open the door, there is no one there, and the hallway is eerily quiet. A few claim the knocks were followed by faint whispers, low voices that seemed to drift away as soon as the door was opened. The staff insists that they never played tricks on guests, and when multiple visitors report the same experiences in different rooms, the mystery becomes harder to dismiss. There are also tales of a woman's apparition, believed to be connected not to the military past but to the region's harsh wilderness. She has been described as wearing clothing from the early 20th century, a long dress suited more for a pioneer than a modern guest. Some say she is the ghost of a woman who perished traveling through Alaska during its frontier days, perhaps succumbing to the unforgiving cold or illness along the way. Her figure is sometimes seen near windows, looking out as if waiting for someone to return. Others have spotted her at the far end of the halls, silently vanishing when approached. Beyond the visual sightings, the Denali Park Hotel is also known for sudden temperature drops. Guests report their rooms turning icy cold without explanation, even when the heaters are running. Some say the air feels heavy, pressing against them with invisible force. A few brave souls who stayed during these episodes swear they felt a hand brush against their skin, or the unmistakable weight of someone sitting at the edge of their bed. While skeptics may dismiss these as tricks of the imagination, the consistency of the accounts paints a chilling picture. One former guest told a story of waking at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps pacing in the room above. Convinced another traveler was having a restless night, he tried to ignore it, but the footsteps grew louder, deliberate, almost as though someone was marching. The next morning, when he mentioned it at the front desk, the clerk informed him that there were no rooms above his. His was the only occupied section of that building. Another couple, staying in the same area weeks later, reported hearing the exact same sound, despite the hauntings, or perhaps because of them. The Denali Park Hotel continues to attract guests. Paranormal enthusiasts visit hoping for an encounter, while others stumble into the experiences unexpectedly. Employees, while accustomed to the stories, acknowledge that the hotel has an atmosphere unlike anywhere else. Many refuse to enter certain rooms after dark, citing an oppressive energy that grows too strong to ignore. Some speculate that the spirits linger because of the transient nature of the hotel itself. Over the years, thousands of travelers have passed through, many on long, arduous journeys. Some never made it home. The barrack stern lodging could have absorbed the residual energies of countless lives, their joys, sorrows, and fears echoing long after their time on Earth ended. In a place as rugged and unforgiving as Alaska, where survival has always been uncertain, it is not surprising that the veil between the living and the dead might be thinner. For those who stay at the Denali Park Hotel, The experience can be both unsettling and oddly moving. Guests leave with stories they never forget, whether it's a fleeting shadow, a chilling voice in the night, or a sense of being watched while alone in their rooms. The spirits here are not thought to be malicious, but they are undeniably present, as though woven into the very fabric of the hotel. In the quiet wilderness of Healy, where the vast expanse of Denali looms on the horizon, the Denali Park Hotel stands as more than a simple lodging. It is a place where history, memory, and mystery converge. Those who pass through may leave with more than just memories of Alaska's beauty. They may carry with them the eerie awareness that they were not alone during their stay. The Denali Park Hotel offers not only shelter for the living, but also a home for the restless souls who have made it their eternal dwelling. The Denali Bluffs Hotel, perched on a scenic bluff just outside the entrance to Denali National Park, is a place that embodies the rugged beauty of Alaska while also harboring an air of mystery. The hotel, with its expansive windows, warm wooden interiors, and panoramic views of the surrounding wilderness, attracts travelers seeking both comfort and adventure. Yet beyond its inviting facade lies a reputation that has grown quietly over the decades, a reputation for unexplained occurrences, shadowy figures, and whispers that seem to drift in with the Alaskan winds. For those who spend the night, the experience can be unforgettable, blending awe-inspiring, natural beauty with an unsettling sense of the unknown. Constructed in the mid-20th century as part of the surge in tourism surrounding Denali National Park, the Denali Bluffs Hotel has hosted generations of visitors eager to explore Alaska's largest and most iconic wilderness. Many of the rooms overlook the sprawling tundra where caribou and moose roam freely, and on clear nights, the aurora borealis often paints the sky in ghostly ribbons of green and purple. But even as guests marvel at the natural wonders outside, some are drawn into a different kind of experience, the one that cannot be explained by the beauty of the landscape alone. The hotel's most commonly reported phenomena occur in the hallways and guest rooms, where visitors have described a range of unusual sensations. Some speak of cold spots that appear suddenly, even in the middle of summer, accompanied by a heavy, almost oppressive atmosphere. Others report hearing footsteps pacing along the corridors late at night, slow and deliberate, yet when they investigate, the halls are completely empty. Doors open and close on their own, lights flicker without cause, and the faint sound of whispers can be heard just beyond the range of perception. Many guests say these experiences are particularly strong in rooms facing the bluff, where the wind sweeps in from the valley below. One of the most frequently cited apparitions is a man in an old park ranger uniform. He is described as tall and imposing, standing silently at the end of hallways or near windows overlooking the wilderness. Witnesses say his presence is both calming and eerie, as though he is observing the hotel's guests while remaining completely detached. Some speculate that he may be the spirit of a ranger who once patrolled the park, devoted to protecting the land and its visitors even after death. Guests have reported feeling a sudden chill when he appears, accompanied by the faint scent of pine and earth, as though the forest itself has entered the room. Another recurring presence is that of a woman in pioneer clothing. She is often seen in the older section of the hotel, wandering slowly through the hallways or standing silently in the lobby. Guests describe her as pale and ethereal, her gaze distant, as though she is trapped between the past and the present. Some claim she weeps softly at night, while others have seen her vanish when approached. Local legend suggests she may have been one of the early settlers or homesteaders who braved the Alaskan wilderness, only to meet a tragic fate. Her presence, though sorrowful, is generally considered unthreatening, and some visitors even report feeling a strange sense of comfort in her quiet company. The hotel's restaurant has its own share of unusual stories. Staff members recount instances of objects moving on their own cups, sliding across the counter, chairs shifting slightly when no one is nearby. Guests have reported hearing faint clinking of silverware and the murmur of conversations long after closing hours. One night, a visitor claimed to see a group of shadowy figures dining at the far end of the room, only for them to vanish as soon as he focused on them. These occurrences are often accompanied by sudden, unexplained changes in temperature, creating an environment that feels alive yet elusive, caught somewhere between reality and the supernatural. Even the hotel's basement and maintenance areas are considered active by staff. Lights flicker, tools occasionally move on their own, and some employees swear they've felt a presence brushing past them in narrow corridors. One maintenance worker told a story of checking on a faulty boiler late at night, only to feel an icy hand on his shoulder and hear a whisper saying, "Be careful," though no one was there when he turned. The experience left him deeply unsettled and convinced that some unseen guardian roamed the hotel's hidden spaces. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Denali Bluffs Hotel often report heightened activity during periods of aurora borealis displays. Many believe the electromagnetic energy from the northern lights interacts with the building, amplifying the presence of spirits or residual energy. Audio recordings frequently pick up unexplained whispers, footsteps, and faint breathing. Cameras occasionally capture orbs of light or shadowy figures that are never visible to the naked eye. For those who are sensitive to such phenomena, the hotel becomes a focal point for experiences that blur the line between the natural and the supernatural. Despite these eerie tales, the Denali Bluffs Hotel remains a popular destination for travelers seeking both adventure and comfort. Its proximity to Denali National Park makes it ideal for wildlife viewing, hiking, and winter excursions, while its rustic charm and panoramic views provide a cozy retreat. Many guests arrive without knowledge of the hotel's haunted reputation, only to leave with stories they cannot fully explain: shadows in the corners of rooms, sudden chills, or the feeling of being watched while alone. Others come specifically hoping for an encounter, drawn by the tales of spectral park rangers and wandering pioneers. The Denali Bluffs Hotel is more than a place to rest. It is a living connection to Alaska's past. Each creaking floorboard, each flickering light, each whisper of wind through the trees seems to carry memories of those who walked the wilderness long before the hotel existed. Visitors may come for the breathtaking scenery and the thrill of exploration, but they often leave with a deeper understanding of the mysterious energy that lingers in this remote corner of the world. Here, at the edge of Denali National Park, the natural beauty of Alaska intertwines seamlessly with the supernatural, offering a unique experience that is as haunting as it is unforgettable. The Princess Lodge in Cooper Landing, Alaska, is a picturesque retreat tucked along the banks of the Kenai River, surrounded by towering spruce and birch trees and framed by the majestic Kenai Mountains. Its rustic architecture and cozy cabins provide a warm welcome to travelers seeking solitude and adventure in one of Alaska's most breathtaking locations. Fishing enthusiasts, hikers, and wildlife watchers come to the lodge year-round, drawn by the natural beauty of the area. Yet beneath its charming exterior, the Princess Lodge harbors a history and energy that some guests describe as inexplicably eerie. Over the years, visitors and staff alike have recounted encounters that suggest the lodge is not merely a sanctuary for the living, but also a place where lingering spirits of the past have chosen to remain. The lodge was originally built in the mid-20th century to accommodate the growing influx of tourists and prospectors drawn to the Kenai River's famed salmon runs. In its early years, the area around Cooper Landing was rugged and isolated, and travelers often faced harsh conditions. Many who came seeking fortune or adventure never left, succumbing to accidents, illness, or the unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. Over time, the lodge expanded, adding cabins, a main building with a welcoming fireplace, and communal areas that offered warmth and hospitality. While these additions brought comfort, some believe they also captured the residual energy of those who passed through or never returned. Guests often report unexplained phenomena within the lodge, particularly in the older cabins closest to the river. Visitors have described doors opening and closing on their own, even when secured. Lights flicker without any apparent electrical issue, and sudden drops in temperature create an uneasy atmosphere. Some guests have reported hearing footsteps pacing outside their doors or in the hallways late at night, only to discover that no one else is present. These experiences are usually subtle at first, but for those who spend several nights at the lodge, the sensations can become impossible to ignore. One of the most commonly reported spirits is believed to be that of a fisherman who frequented the Kenai River decades ago. Witnesses describe him as wearing a weathered coat and boots, carrying a fishing rod as he walks along the riverbank or pauses near the cabins. Guests have said they see him in the early morning mist, casting a line that disappears before hitting the water, or standing silently at the edge of the lodge grounds, staring at the river. Some speculate that he may have died during one of the brutal Alaskan winters or in a fishing accident, returning to the place he loved most. Visitors often describe a mix of unease and awe when encountering him, sensing a presence that is both protective and melancholic. The lodge's main building also has its share of stories. Guests and staff report hearing faint conversations or whispers in empty rooms, particularly near the fireplace, where the warmth of the fire seems to attract unseen attention. Objects have been known to shift subtly on tables or counters, and occasionally, the sensation of being watched is strong enough to create a feeling of being followed through the hallways. One long-term employee recounted a night when he entered the dining area alone and saw a shadowy figure seated at a table, only for it to vanish as he approached. Similar sightings have been reported by multiple guests over the years, suggesting that the lodge harbors recurring presences rather than isolated incidents. Another frequently mentioned spirit is that of a woman dressed in clothing from the early 20th century. She has been seen wandering the hallways or standing near windows, gazing out at the river and the surrounding forest. Guests describe her presence as sorrowful, but as if she is searching for someone or something she lost long ago. Some speculate that she may have been a pioneer woman or a traveler who passed away unexpectedly in the area. Witnesses often report feeling a sense of melancholy or nostalgia in her presence, as if the lodge itself is conveying the emotions of those who once walked its halls. The cabins closest to the river are particularly active, according to staff accounts. Guests often wake to find the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed or feel the subtle pressure of an unseen hand brushing against them. Doors may open or close by themselves, and the air can become inexplicably cold despite functioning heaters. Several visitors have recounted the sensation of being watched from the windows, even when the view outside is empty. These experiences, while unsettling, are rarely described as hostile, and many guests come away with a mix of fear and fascination, feeling as though they have glimpsed a piece of the past come alive. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Princess Lodge note that the location's natural energy may contribute to its unusual activity. The proximity to the river, the surrounding forest, and the quiet isolation of Cooper Landing seem to create an atmosphere where the line between the living and the spiritual is thin. EMF meters, audio recordings, and cameras often capture anomalies, including unexplained lights, shadows, and voices, suggesting that the lodge is more than a simple retreat. It is a repository for the lingering memories and emotions of those who once lived, traveled, or died nearby. Despite its eerie reputation, the Princess Lodge remains a popular destination for travelers. Guests are drawn not only by its proximity to world-class fishing and outdoor adventure, but also by the sense of history that permeates the property. Some leave with nothing more than memories of Alaskan wilderness and hospitality, while others carry stories of shadowy figures, whispers in the night, and the profound feeling that they were not alone during their stay. For those who spend a night at the Princess Lodge, the experience is a blend of natural beauty, rustic comfort, and the subtle presence of the past. The lodge is more than a place to rest. It is a living connection to the lives and stories of the people who came before. A place where history, memory, and the supernatural converge. Visitors leave with impressions that linger, not easily explained, but impossible to forget. A reminder that in a place as wild and enduring as Alaska, the past is never truly gone, and the spirits of those who came before are never far from view. The Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge in Cooper Landing, Alaska, is a striking blend of rustic charm and modern comfort. Nestled along the banks of the Kenai River and surrounded by the sweeping grandeur of the Kenai Mountains. Its expansive wooden decks, towering stone fireplaces, and cozy cabins offer visitors an inviting respite from the rugged Alaskan wilderness. For decades, it has drawn travelers seeking world-class fishing, hiking, wildlife viewing, and the quiet serenity of one of Alaska's most beautiful regions. Yet beyond its breathtaking scenery and warm hospitality, the lodge has earned a reputation for experiences that defy explanation. Encounters that suggest the presence of spirits lingering long after their time in the wilderness. The lodge itself was constructed in the late 20th century as part of the Princess Cruises' expansion into Alaskan tourism. Designed to blend seamlessly with its natural surroundings, it quickly became a haven for adventurers and tourists alike. Guests arrived to the smell of pine and cedar, the sound of rushing water from the Kenai River, and the comforting warmth of a lodge built to withstand Alaska's harsh elements. Despite its contemporary appeal, stories of unexplained activity began emerging soon after the lodge opened, leading some to wonder whether the energy of the surrounding wilderness and its history of human endeavor had left an imprint. Many visitors report a sense of being watched as soon as they enter the lodge. Hallways, especially in the older, cabin-style rooms, seem to hold a presence that is almost tangible. Footsteps echo in the corridors late at night, slow and deliberate. Yet when guests investigate, the halls are empty. Doors creak open and close without explanation, and the soft flicker of lights can occur even when no one touches the switches. While some guests dismiss these occurrences as quirks of an old wooden structure or the wind whistling through the mountains, repeated experiences over the years suggest something more mysterious is at work. One of the most frequently reported spirits is believed to be that of a fisherman or prospector who lived in the area decades ago. Witnesses describe him as wearing period clothing, including a worn coat and hat, often seen near the river or pacing quietly in the hallways. Guests have claimed to see him at dawn, standing silently on the deck, gazing toward the Kenai River, as if overseeing the wilderness he once traversed. Some speculate that he may have perished while navigating the treacherous waters of the river, his spirit returning to the lodge that offered him comfort in life. Many who have encountered him describe a feeling of calm mixed with melancholy, as though he exists in a state between worlds. Another recurring presence is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire, often observed in the lodge's common areas or near windows overlooking the river. Guests describe her as pale and ethereal, with a distant gaze as though she is searching for someone lost long ago. Some speculate she was an early settler or traveler who succumbed to the harsh conditions of Cooper Landing. Her presence is usually non-threatening, but she often leaves visitors with a deep sense of nostalgia or sadness, a feeling that the lodge itself carries the weight of her story. Witnesses have described fleeting glimpses of her walking quietly along hallways or fading into shadows when approached. The lodge's rooms are particularly prone to unusual experiences. Guests have reported feeling the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of their bed, hearing faint whispers in the darkness, or sensing a presence leaning over them as they sleep. Doors may swing open or shut with no discernible cause, and sudden drops in temperature create an eerie atmosphere even when the heaters are operating. Some visitors report items on desks or nightstands shifting slightly overnight, though no one else occupies the room. These occurrences, while subtle, contribute to an overall sense that the lodge retains the memories and energies of those who have passed through or perished in the surrounding wilderness. Staff members are well acquainted with the lodge's peculiarities. Many have reported shadows moving at the edge of their vision, the sensation of a presence passing behind them, or footsteps echoing in empty areas. One longtime employee recalled walking through the main lodge late at night, only to see a shadowy figure standing near the fireplace, vanishing when approached. Another described an icy chill that would sometimes roll through the dining area or common rooms, accompanied by the faint sound of conversation in a space otherwise empty. These incidents, though unnerving, are rarely described as threatening. Instead, they seem like residual energy of past lives, lingering quietly in the lodge. The surrounding wilderness is thought to amplify these experiences. The Kenai River, with its strong currents and history of both sustenance and tragedy, may serve as a focal point for lingering spirits. The mountains, forests, and remote location of Cooper Landing create an atmosphere where the boundary between the living and the spiritual world feels thinner. Paranormal investigators who have visited the lodge report heightened activity during early mornings or late nights, when the quiet of the wilderness and the flow of the river seem to awaken unseen presences. EMF meters spike without explanation, audio recordings capture faint voices and whispers, and cameras occasionally reveal shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies in unoccupied areas. Despite its reputation, the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge remains a highly sought-after destination. Guests arrive for fishing excursions, wildlife photography, and hiking, but often leave with stories of encounters that linger in their minds. Some experience only fleeting chills or unexplained noises, while others report sightings of figures or the sensation of being gently observed by unseen entities. For many, the lodge becomes more than a place to stay. It is a bridge to the past, a connection to the people who lived, worked, and perished in the wilderness surrounding Cooper Landing. The Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge is more than just an accommodation. It is a living repository of history, memory, and lingering spirits. Visitors are enveloped in the beauty of the Kenai River and the surrounding mountains, while simultaneously immersed in an atmosphere where the past feels vividly present. The lodge invites guests not only to experience Alaska's wilderness, but also to sense the invisible threads of human life and energy that have persisted through the decades. For those who spend a night here, the experience is unforgettable. A reminder that in Alaska, the past never truly disappears, and the spirits of those who came before can remain quietly by your side. The Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge, perched on a hill overlooking the confluence of the Talkeetna, Susitna, and Chulitna rivers, is a striking gateway to Alaska's wilderness. Its rustic architecture, massive wooden beams, and panoramic windows capture the rugged beauty of the surrounding mountains and forests. Guests come to the lodge seeking both comfort and adventure, sightseeing over Denali, hiking, or simply absorbing the quiet majesty of the Alaskan landscape. Yet beyond its inviting atmosphere and breathtaking views, the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge has garnered a reputation for experiences that defy explanation. A place where visitors and staff alike report encounters that suggest the presence of spirits who have chosen to linger in the shadow of the mountains. The lodge was established in the mid-20th century to accommodate the growing influx of tourists drawn to Talkeetna, a small town with a rich history of miners, trappers, and adventurers. Its location, surrounded by dense forests and perched above the rivers, made it a natural refuge for travelers who braved the unpredictable Alaskan wilderness. Over the decades, stories began to emerge of unusual occurrences, mysterious sounds, fleeting shadows, and cold spots that could not be explained by the environment alone. Many locals believe that the lodge has absorbed the energy of the people who have passed through Talkeetna, particularly those who met unfortunate ends in the nearby mountains or rivers. Guests often report a sense of being watched upon entering the lodge. Hallways and common areas seem to hum with an invisible presence. Footsteps echo late at night, slow and deliberate. Yet, when investigated, the corridors are empty. Doors open and close on their own, and the soft flicker of lights is sometimes observed, even when all electrical systems are functioning normally. While some visitors dismiss these experiences as the quirks of an old building or the settling of wooden floors, many others feel an undeniable presence that is both mysterious and captivating. Among the most frequently cited spirits is a man thought to have been an early mountaineer or prospector in the Talkeetna area. Witnesses describe him wearing period clothing, heavy boots, a worn coat, and a hat, standing silently near windows or on the lodge's decks overlooking the rivers. Some guests report seeing him in the early morning mist, gazing toward the mountains as if planning a climb that never happened, or pacing quietly through the hallways. Locals suggest that he may have perished during an expedition. his spirit returning to the lodge that once offered safety and warmth. Those who encounter him often describe a mixture of awe and melancholy, sensing a presence that is watchful but not threatening. Another commonly reported apparition is that of a woman in clothing. From the early 1900s, she is frequently seen wandering the lodge hallways or sitting silently near windows, gazing toward the rivers or the distant mountains. Guests describe her as ethereal and sorrowful, her presence creating an air of melancholy that is palpable. Some speculate that she may have been a settler or traveler who succumbed to the harsh conditions of Talkeetna, her spirit lingering in the lodge as though waiting for someone who never returned. Witnesses often report feeling a sudden chill or a deep sense of nostalgia when in her presence, as if the building itself channels the memories of its past inhabitants. The lodge's rooms are hotspots for paranormal activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed or hearing whispers in the darkness, faint but distinct. Doors may open or close on their own, and sudden drops in temperature are common, even when heaters are running. Some guests describe the feeling of being gently touched or brushed by a presence, while others notice objects shifting slightly overnight. These experiences are concentrated mostly in the older sections of the lodge, where original architecture and furnishings remain intact, preserving the energy of the past. Staff members are well acquainted with the lodge's unusual occurrences. Many report shadows passing at the edge of their vision, sudden sensations of being watched, and footsteps in areas that are otherwise empty. One longtime employee recalled entering the dining hall late at night and seeing a shadowy figure standing near the fireplace, only to vanish when approached. Others have reported hearing low murmurs, faint laughter, or the soft sound of movement in empty hallways. These encounters, while unsettling, are rarely described as threatening and often seem more like residual energy than active malice. The surrounding wilderness is believed to amplify the lodge's unusual activity. The rivers, forests, and mountains carry their own histories of hardship and adventure, and some believe that the energy of those who lived, worked, and sometimes died in the area has merged with the lodge itself. Paranormal investigators who have visited the property report heightened activity during early mornings or late nights, when the wilderness is quiet and the lodge is still. EMF meters spike inexplicably, audio recordings capture faint whispers and footsteps, and cameras occasionally reveal shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. These findings suggest that the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge is more than just a hotel. It is a focal point for energies that transcend time. Despite its eerie reputation, the lodge continues to attract visitors from around the world. Tourists come for adventure, fishing excursions, and sightseeing tours over Denali. But many leave with stories of experiences they cannot explain: glimpses of shadowy figures, sudden chills, or the overwhelming sensation of being observed. For some, the lodge becomes a portal to the past, a place where the lives and memories of those who came before can be sensed in quiet, fleeting ways. The Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge is more than a destination. It is a living repository of the region's history and spirit. Visitors are enveloped in the natural beauty of Alaska, while simultaneously sensing the unseen echoes of the people who once lived, traveled, and worked into. For those who spend a night here, the experience is unforgettable, a blend of comfort, adventure, and the subtle thrill of the supernatural, in a land where the wilderness is as unforgiving as it is breathtaking. The lodge stands as a testament to the enduring presence of history, memory, and the spirits of those who never left. The Nick River Lodge in Palmer, Alaska, is a rustic retreat nestled along the banks of the winding Nick River, surrounded by the expansive wilderness and towering peaks of the Chugach Mountains. Its log-built cabins, expansive decks, and panoramic views make it a haven for travelers seeking the beauty and solitude of Alaska. Guests arrive for fishing, hiking, sightseeing, and simply to immerse themselves in the quiet majesty of the landscape. Yet beneath the lodge's inviting warmth and scenic splendor lies a history that some visitors say carries a subtle, eerie presence. Over the years, the Nick River Lodge has become known not just for its hospitality, but for a series of unexplained experiences that have left guests and staff alike questioning what is real and what is not. The lodge was established in the mid-20th century, catering to adventurers, miners, and tourists drawn to the natural bounty of Palmer and the surrounding wilderness. Its location along the river made it an ideal hub for travelers seeking both comfort and access to Alaska's rugged terrain. Early visitors spoke of the lodge as a sanctuary, a place where the warmth of a roaring fireplace and the smell of pine and cedar contrasted sharply with the cold, harsh world outside. Over the years, stories began to circulate about strange occurrences, whispers in empty hallways, fleeting shadows, and sudden drops in temperature that hinted at a lingering presence beyond the living. Guests frequently report a sense of being observed as soon as they enter the lodge. Hallways and common areas seem to hum with an invisible energy. Footsteps echo late at night, slow and deliberate. Yet, when investigated, the corridors are empty. Doors open and close without explanation, and lights flicker despite no apparent electrical issues. While some dismiss these incidents as quirks of an older building, others feel a more tangible, unsettling presence that cannot be rationally explained. Many claim that the lodge seems to carry the memories and energy of those who lived, worked, or perished in the area long ago. Among the most commonly reported spirits is believed to be that of a prospector or early settler. Witnesses describe him as wearing period clothing, with a coat, boots, and a hat, often seen near the river or moving quietly through the lodge's hallways. Guests have reported seeing him on the decks in the early morning fog, staring toward the distant mountains or pacing slowly as if retracing his steps from decades past. Some locals speculate that he may have perished while exploring or hunting in the rugged wilderness, and that his spirit returns to the lodge that once provided warmth and shelter. Those who encounter him often describe a sense of quiet reflection and melancholy rather than fear, a reminder of the hardships of life in early Alaska. Another apparition frequently reported is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. She is often seen wandering the hallways, pausing by windows, or sitting quietly in the common areas. Guests describe her as ethereal, with a distant and sorrowful gaze, as though she is searching for someone long lost. Some speculate that she may have been a pioneer woman or a traveler who succumbed to the harsh conditions of the area. Her presence is typically non-threatening, though it often leaves an impression of sadness or nostalgia. Visitors report feeling a sudden chill or an emotional weight when near her, as if the lodge itself channels the energy of past lives. The rooms at the Nick River Lodge are hotspots for unexplained activity. Guests have reported waking to find the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing faint whispers or murmurs in the darkness, or feeling a presence leaning over them as they sleep. Doors may open or close without cause, and sudden drops in temperature are common, even when heating is active. Some guests notice objects on desks or nightstands shifting overnight, though no one else has entered the room. These experiences are concentrated primarily in the older cabins, where original construction and furnishings remain intact, preserving the energy of the past. Staff members of the lodge have long been familiar with its unusual occurrences. Many recount seeing shadows move at the edge of their vision, footsteps echoing through empty areas, and a sensation of being watched. One longtime employee remembered walking down a hallway late at night, only to see a shadowy figure standing near the fireplace, vanishing when approached. Others report faint murmurs, whispers, or even laughter in spaces where no one else is present. While unsettling, these occurrences are rarely described as hostile. They seem more like residual energy, echoes of lives once lived rather than active spirits with intent. The surrounding wilderness appears to intensify these experiences. The Nick River, with its strong currents and rich history, and the remote mountains and forests, provide a backdrop where the line between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Paranormal investigators who have visited the lodge report increased activity during early mornings or quiet nights, capturing EMF spikes, audio anomalies, and shadowy figures on cameras. Many suggest that the combination of the area's natural energy, The lodge's age and its history of human endeavor contribute to an environment where unexplained phenomena flourish. Despite its haunted reputation, the Nick River Lodge continues to attract visitors. Guests come for its scenic location, outdoor activities, and rustic hospitality. Yet many leave with stories of mysterious encounters, shadowy figures glimpsed from the corner of the eye, whispers in empty hallways, or the sensation of being watched. For some, the lodge becomes a bridge to the past, connecting them to the lives of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in the unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. The Nick River Lodge is more than just a place to stay. It is a repository of history and lingering energy. Visitors are immersed in Alaska's natural beauty, while simultaneously sensing the echoes of past lives. The lodge offers a unique experience, blending adventure and comfort with the subtle thrill of the unexplained. For those who spend a night here, it is an unforgettable reminder that in Alaska, where the wilderness dominates, the past is never truly gone, and the spirits of those who came before may linger quietly alongside the living. The Wrangell Mountain Air Lodge in McCarthy, Alaska, sits at the edge of the vast Wrangell St. Elias Wilderness, a remote region where towering peaks, glaciers, and dense forests dominate the landscape. The lodge is a haven for adventurers, pilots, hikers, and wildlife enthusiasts who come to explore one of the most rugged and untouched areas of Alaska. Its log cabins, wide decks, and panoramic views of the Wrangell Mountains provide comfort amid the wilderness. But beneath the lodge's welcoming exterior lies a reputation for unexplained occurrences and lingering presences that have puzzled guests and staff alike. For those who stay here, the experience is not just about the natural beauty of the area, it's also about the subtle, sometimes unsettling presence of the past that seems to linger in the air. The lodge was originally established in the mid-20th century to accommodate pilots and adventurers traveling into the remote McCarthy area. Its proximity to the airstrip made it an ideal base for exploring the glaciers, mountains, and abandoned mining towns nearby. From the very beginning, stories emerged of strange phenomena: doors opening and closing without cause, lights flickering, and footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Over time, these reports became more frequent, leading many to believe that the lodge harbors the spirits of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in this harsh corner of Alaska. Guests often report a sense of being watched as soon as they enter the lodge. Hallways, cabins, and common areas seem to carry an invisible energy. Footsteps are heard pacing in the middle of the night, deliberate and heavy. Yet, when investigated, no one is found. Doors swing open and shut on their own, and electrical lights flicker without explanation. While some dismiss these occurrences as quirks of an older building or the creaks of settling wood, many feel a more tangible, unsettling presence, as if the lodge itself retains the memories and energy of the people who once inhabited the area. Among the most frequently cited spirits is believed to be a pilot or prospector from McCarthy's early days. Witnesses describe him as wearing rugged clothing, including a heavy coat and boots, and often carrying equipment or a pack. Guests have reported seeing him in the early morning fog near the airstrip or pacing the lodge decks, gazing toward the distant glaciers. Locals speculate that he may have perished in an accident or succumbed to the unforgiving wilderness, and that his spirit returns to the lodge that once provided warmth, shelter, and companionship. Visitors who encounter him often describe a feeling of melancholy and vigilance, sensing a presence that is watchful but not threatening. Another commonly reported apparition is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. She is frequently observed wandering the hallways, pausing by windows overlooking the mountains, or sitting silently in the common areas. Guests describe her as ethereal and sorrowful, her gaze distant as if searching for someone lost long ago. Some believe she may have been a pioneer woman or traveler who met an untimely death in McCarthy, her spirit lingering in the lodge as though waiting for someone who never returned. Witnesses often report a sudden chill or an emotional weight when near her, as if the lodge itself channels the memories and feelings of past lives. The lodge's cabins are particularly prone to unusual activity. Guests often wake to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hear faint whispers in the darkness, or feel the presence of a figure leaning over them as they sleep. Doors may open or close by themselves, and sudden drops in temperature are common, even when heaters are functioning. Objects on desks or tables occasionally shift overnight, though no one else has been in the room. These experiences, though subtle, create a sense that the lodge retains the energy and echoes of the past, blending history and the present in ways that are both unsettling and captivating. Staff members have long been familiar with the lodge's peculiarities. Many report seeing shadows move at the edge of their vision, hearing footsteps in empty areas, or sensing an unseen presence as they move through hallways. One longtime employee recalled walking through the main lodge late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, vanishing as he approached. Others report faint murmurs, whispers, or the soft sound of movement in areas where no one else is present. While unsettling, these occurrences are rarely described as hostile. They seem more like echoes of past lives than active spirits with intent. The surrounding wilderness appears to amplify these experiences. The glaciers, rivers, and towering mountains carry their own histories of hardship, survival, and tragedy, and some believe that the energy of those who lived and died in the area has merged with the lodge itself. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Wrangell Mountain Air Lodge report heightened activity during quiet, early mornings or long nights when the wilderness is still. EMF meters spike inexplicably, audio recordings capture faint whispers and footsteps, and cameras occasionally reveal shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. These findings suggest that the lodge is more than a simple retreat. It is a focal point where human history and spiritual energy converge. Despite its eerie reputation, the Wrangell Mountain Air Lodge continues to attract guests. Visitors come for its location, outdoor activities, and the stunning beauty of McCarthy and the surrounding wilderness. Yet many leave with stories of encounters that linger in their minds. Shadowy figures glimpsed in the hallways, sudden chills, or the sensation of being observed are common experiences. For some, the lodge becomes a bridge to the past, a connection to the lives of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in the remote reaches of Alaska. The Wrangell Mountain Air Lodge is more than a place to stay. It is a repository of history, memory, and lingering energy. Visitors are immersed in Alaska's natural beauty while sensing the echoes of those who came before. For those who spend a night here, the experience is unforgettably blend of comfort, adventure, and the subtle thrill of the unexplained. In McCarthy, where the wilderness dominates and survival is never guaranteed, the lodge stands as a testament to the enduring presence of history, memory, and the spirits of those who never left. The Kenai Fjords Wilderness Lodge, perched on the remote shores of Ayalik Bay in Alaska, is a sanctuary of solitude and natural beauty, surrounded by towering cliffs, glaciers, and the icy waters of the bay. The lodge offers guests a rare opportunity to immerse themselves fully in the Alaskan wilderness. Visitors come seeking adventure kayaking among floating icebergs, hiking along rugged coastal trails, wildlife watching, and exploring the fjord's hidden coves. Yet beneath its pristine exterior, the lodge has developed a reputation for experiences that defy explanation. Guests and staff alike have reported subtle, sometimes chilling occurrences that hint at a lingering presence from the past, a connection to the wilderness and the people who once traversed it. Established in the late 20th century as a base for eco-tourists and adventurers, the Kenai Fjords Wilderness Lodge was designed to harmonize with its natural surroundings. Its log cabins, panoramic decks, and large windows capture the grandeur of the fjords, while providing warmth and comfort in an otherwise unforgiving environment. The remoteness of Ayalik Bay has always attracted explorers, fishermen, and naturalists, and many who ventured here decades ago left their mark both in history and, some believe, in the energy that now inhabits the lodge. Over time, stories began circulating of unexplained phenomena, strange sounds, flickering lights, cold spots, and fleeting shadows, suggesting that the lodge may hold echoes of the past. Guests often report feeling watched as soon as they step inside the lodge, Hallways and cabins seem to carry an invisible presence. Footsteps echo in the quiet of the night, deliberate and rhythmic. Yet, when investigated, the halls are empty. Doors open and close on their own, and lights flicker despite no apparent electrical issues. While some dismiss these experiences as quirks of wooden construction or the remote environment, others sense a presence that is tangible, lingering, and deeply connected to the history of the fjords. One of the most frequently reported spirits is believed to be that of a fisherman or early explorer. Witnesses describe him wearing rugged, weathered clothing, often seen near the water's edge or pacing quietly along the lodge's decks. Guests have reported seeing him in the misty mornings, standing silently and gazing out over the fjords, as though guarding the waters he once traversed. Locals speculate that he may have perished in the treacherous bay or along the rugged coastline, returning to the lodge that once offered warmth, shelter, and companionship. Those who encounter him often describe a sense of quiet vigilance and melancholy, a presence that is watchful but not threatening. Another recurring presence is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. Guests describe her as pale and ethereal, often seen wandering hallways, pausing by windows that overlook the bay, or sitting quietly in communal areas. Her expression is distant, sorrowful, as though she is searching for someone or something lost long ago. Some speculate that she may have been a settler, a traveler, or even a naturalist studying the area, whose life ended prematurely in the unforgiving wilderness. Witnesses report feeling a sudden chill, a heavy sense of nostalgia, or even a momentary feeling of sadness when in her presence, as if the lodge itself carries the echoes of her story. The lodge's cabins are hotspots for unexplained activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing whispers in the darkness, or feeling a subtle pressure against their skin. Doors may swing open or shut without explanation, and sudden drops in temperature are common, even when the heating systems are fully operational. Objects occasionally shift overnight, though no one else is present in the room. These phenomena, while subtle, create an unmistakable sense that the lodge preserves the memories and energies of the people who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in the fjords long ago. Staff members are intimately familiar with the lodge's peculiar tendencies. Many report shadows moving at the edges of their vision, the sound of footsteps echoing through empty areas, and an inexplicable sensation of being watched. One longtime employee recounted walking through the main lodge late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, vanishing as he approached. Others have reported faint murmurs, whispers, or soft sounds of movement in spaces where no one else is present. While unnerving, these experiences are rarely described as hostile. They seem more like residual energy, echoes of lives once lived rather than spirits with malevolent intent. The surrounding wilderness amplifies these experiences. The fjords, glaciers, rivers, and forests carry the weight of countless human interactions, both tragic and triumphant. Some believe the lodge has absorbed the energy of those who braved the region's harsh conditions, and that this energy manifests as subtle but perceptible presences. Paranormal investigators who have visited the lodge report heightened activity during early mornings or late nights. When the fjords are quiet and the bay is still, EMF meters spike without explanation. Audio recordings capture faint whispers and footsteps, and cameras occasionally record shadowy figures or light anomalies in unoccupied areas. The combination of isolation, history, and natural energy creates an atmosphere where the line between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Despite its haunted reputation, the Kenai Fjords Wilderness Lodge remains a sought-after destination. Guests come for kayaking, wildlife viewing, hiking, and the serenity of Islet Bay. Yet many leave with stories of mysterious encounters, shadowy figures glimpsed in hallways, whispers in the dark, and sudden chills are common experiences, leaving visitors with the undeniable impression that the lodge is alive with the echoes of the past. For some, the lodge becomes a bridge to history, a way to sense the lives of those who lived, worked, and sometimes died in this remote Alaskan wilderness. The Kenai Fjords Wilderness Lodge is more than a destination. It is a living repository of history, memory, and lingering energy. Visitors are immersed in the pristine beauty of Alaska, while sensing the unseen presence of those who came before. For those who spend a night here, the experience is unforgettable, a blend of comfort, adventure, and subtle supernatural intrigue. In a land dominated by glaciers, fjords, and wilderness, the lodge stands as a testament to the enduring presence of history, memory, and the spirits of those who never truly left. The Glacier Bay Lodge, located in the small town of Gustavus, Alaska, sits on the edge of one of the most pristine and remote wilderness areas in the world. Overlooking the waters of Glacier Bay and surrounded by towering mountains, glaciers, and dense temperate rainforests, the lodge serves as a gateway for travelers eager to explore the breathtaking landscapes of Glacier Bay National Park. Its rustic log architecture, warm interiors, and expansive decks provide both comfort and immersion in the natural beauty of the area. While the lodge offers a peaceful retreat for nature lovers and adventurers, it has also earned a reputation for experiences that defy explanation. Guests and staff alike have reported subtle, sometimes unsettling occurrences that suggest lingering presences, a connection to the past, and an energy that cannot easily be ignored. The lodge was established in the latter half of the 20th century to accommodate tourists, researchers, and explorers drawn to the remote reaches of Glacier Bay. Gustavus itself has a long history of settlement, from Tlingit villages to early explorers, miners, and naturalists. The lodge's location along the bay made it an ideal refuge for travelers navigating the often harsh and unpredictable Alaskan wilderness. From its earliest days, visitors reported strange phenomena, footsteps echoing in empty hallways, doors opening and closing without explanation, and faint whispers that seemed to carry through the still air. Over time, these experiences became more widely recognized, and many began to believe that the lodge holds not just the comforts of civilization, but also the residual energy of those who came before. Guests often describe a feeling of being watched as soon as they step inside the lodge. The hallways, cabins, and common areas seem to carry an invisible presence. Footsteps are heard late at night, deliberate and rhythmic, but when investigated, no one is found. Doors may swing open or shut, lights flicker inexplicably, and sometimes the sensation of a presence in the room is unmistakable. While some dismiss these events as quirks of construction or the lodge's remote location, many visitors feel a tangible sense of history and lingering energy, a subtle acknowledgement that the past is never far away in Glacier Bay. One of the most frequently reported spirits is believed to be a fisherman or early explorer who once worked along the bay. Guests have described seeing a man dressed in period clothing, including a heavy coat and boots, standing near the water or pacing quietly along the lodge's decks. Some report seeing him in the early morning mist, gazing silently at the glaciers or watching over the bay, as though he is guarding a territory he once knew intimately. Locals speculate that he may have perished in a fishing accident or been claimed by the treacherous waters of the bay, returning in spirit to the lodge that once offered safety, warmth, and shelter. Visitors often describe a sense of solemn vigilance in his presence, a feeling that he is observing with quiet intent, but no malice. Another commonly reported apparition is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. She is often seen walking through hallways, pausing by windows overlooking the bay, or sitting quietly in communal spaces. Guests describe her as ethereal, sorrowful, and distant, as if searching for someone or something long lost. Some speculate she was a settler, traveler, or naturalist whose life ended prematurely in this remote wilderness. Witnesses often report feeling a chill or a sudden emotional weight when near her, as if the lodge itself channels the memories of lives once lived, leaving visitors with an impression of nostalgia and quiet melancholy. The lodge's cabins are particularly prone to unexplained activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing faint whispers, or feeling a presence leaning over them. Doors may open or close on their own, and sudden drops in temperature are common even when heaters are operational. Objects occasionally shift overnight, though no one else has entered the room. These subtle experiences contribute to a growing sense that the lodge is a vessel for the lingering memories and energies of the people who passed through, lived, and sometimes died in the area. Staff members are well aware of the lodge's peculiarities. Many recount seeing shadows at the edge of their vision, footsteps echoing through empty hallways, and the sensation of being watched in unoccupied areas. One long-term employee recalled walking through the main lodge late at night, seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, only to find it vanished when approached. Others report faint murmurs or soft sounds of movement in spaces devoid of human presence. While unnerving, these experiences are rarely threatening. They appear to be residual echoes, a subtle connection to the past, rather than active spirits with intent. The surrounding wilderness seems to amplify these occurrences. The glaciers, forests, and waters of Glacier Bay carry their own histories of survival, hardship, and tragedy. Many believe the lodge has absorbed the energy of those who navigated the harsh terrain, merging the past with the present in subtle ways. Paranormal investigators who have visited the lodge report heightened activity during early mornings or late nights when the area is quiet. EMF meters spike without explanation. Audio recordings capture faint voices and footsteps, and cameras occasionally record shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. The remote location, combined with the lodge's history, creates an environment where the boundary between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Despite its haunted reputation, the Glacier Bay Lodge remains a popular destination. Guests come for kayaking, wildlife viewing, glacier tours, and the natural beauty of Gustavus. Yet many leave with stories of unexplainable encounters, shadowy figures glimpsed in the hallways, whispers in empty rooms, and sudden chills are common, leaving visitors with the impression that the lodge is alive with echoes of the past. For some, the lodge becomes more than a place to stay. It is a connection to the history, stories, and lives of those who came before. The Glacier Bay Lodge is not merely a retreat. It is a living repository of memory, history, and lingering energy. Visitors are enveloped in Alaska's wild beauty while sensing the echoes of lives long past. Those who spend a night here experience more than adventure. They feel the subtle presence of the past, a quiet reminder that in the remote wilderness of Alaska, the spirits of those who came before are never truly gone. The Seward Windsong Lodge, nestled just outside the small coastal town of Seward, Alaska, sits amid the towering peaks and dense forests that define the Kenai Peninsula. Surrounded by spruce and hemlock trees, with sweeping views of Resurrection Bay and the nearby mountains, the lodge offers a perfect blend of rustic charm and modern comfort. Its log cabins, expansive decks, and roaring fireplaces provide a warm retreat for guests who come to explore Alaska's wilderness, fish in glacial rivers, hike along mountain trails, or simply absorb the tranquil beauty of the region. Yet for decades, the lodge has become known not only for its breathtaking location and hospitality, but also for subtle, unexplained occurrences that have left visitors and staff questioning the ordinary and hinting at the extraordinary. The lodge was established in the late 20th century to accommodate tourists seeking a quiet retreat near Seward, with easy access to Kenai Fjords National Park and the surrounding wilderness. Early visitors often remarked on the building's warmth and natural beauty, but over time, stories began to surface of unusual phenomena. Footsteps echoing in empty hallways, flickering lights, and cold spots that seemed to appear without reason. Many locals and long-term guests speculate that the lodge has absorbed the energy of the people who have traveled, worked, and occasionally met tragic ends in the surrounding wilderness. Guests frequently describe a feeling of being watched as soon as they enter the lodge. Hallways, cabins, and common areas seem to hum with an invisible presence. Footsteps are heard late at night, slow and deliberate. Yet, when investigated, the halls are empty. Doors swing open or close unexpectedly, and lights flicker even when there is no electrical issue. Some visitors dismiss these events as quirks of wooden construction or the effects of the wilderness environment, but others report a more tangible, unsettling presence. a sense that the lodge holds the memories and energy of those who came before. One of the most frequently reported spirits is believed to be that of a fisherman or early prospector who once worked along the coast. Witnesses describe him wearing rugged, period clothing, including a heavy coat and boots, sometimes carrying equipment. Guests have reported seeing him pacing quietly along the lodge decks or standing silently near windows overlooking Resurrection Bay, especially in the early morning mist. Locals speculate he may have perished in an accident while fishing or exploring the rugged coastline, returning in spirit to the lodge that once offered warmth, shelter, and a sense of home. Those who encounter him often describe a mixture of awe and melancholy, sensing a presence that is watchful but not threatening. Another frequently reported apparition is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. Guests describe her as ethereal and sorrowful, often wandering hallways, pausing at windows that overlook the mountains or bay, or sitting quietly in communal areas. Some speculate she was a settler, traveler, or naturalist whose life ended prematurely in the surrounding wilderness. Witnesses often report feeling a sudden chill or a profound sense of nostalgia when near her, as if the lodge itself channels the memories and emotions of the past. While her presence is generally non-threatening, it leaves an impression of quiet melancholy that lingers long after guests depart. The lodge's cabins are particularly prone to unusual activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing whispers in the darkness, or sensing a presence leaning over them. Doors may swing open or closed without explanation, and sudden drops in temperature are common even when heating systems are operating normally. Occasionally, objects on desks or nightstands shift overnight, though no one else has been in the room. These subtle phenomena contribute to the sense that the lodge preserves the energy and memories of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in the region long ago. Staff members are familiar with the lodge's peculiar tendencies. Many recount seeing shadows at the edge of their vision, footsteps echoing through empty areas, and the sensation of being observed in unoccupied spaces. One longtime employee recalled walking through the lodge late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, vanishing when approached. Others report faint murmurs, whispers, or soft sounds of movement in areas devoid of human presence. While unsettling, these experiences are rarely hostile. They feel more like echoes of past lives, rather than spirits with malevolent intent. The surrounding wilderness seems to heighten these experiences. The forests, rivers, and mountains carry a history of survival, adventure, and tragedy. Many believe that the lodge has absorbed the energy of those who braved the environment, resulting in subtle manifestations that visitors can sense. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Seward Windsong Lodge report heightened activity during early mornings or late nights. When the lodge is quiet and the surrounding wilderness is still, EMF meters spike unexpectedly, audio recordings capture faint whispers and footsteps, and cameras occasionally record shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. The combination of isolation, history, and natural energy creates an atmosphere where the line between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Despite its haunted reputation, the Seward Windsong Lodge continues to draw visitors from around the world. Guests arrive for fishing, hiking, kayaking, wildlife watching, and the serenity of Resurrection Bay. Yet many leave with stories of experiences they cannot explain: shadowy figures glimpsed in the hallways, sudden chills, or whispers in empty rooms. For some, the lodge becomes a bridge to the past, connecting visitors to the lives of those who lived, worked, and occasionally perished in the rugged Alaskan wilderness. The Eagles rest in Eagle River, Alaska. Sits quietly amidst the dense spruce and birch forests that line the northern outskirts of Anchorage. Its rustic log cabins, wide porches, and sweeping views of the surrounding rivers and mountains create a sense of serene isolation. Guests come to the lodge seeking both adventure and retreat, drawn by the region's abundant wildlife, hiking trails, and proximity to the Chugach Mountains. Yet, beneath its inviting exterior, The Eagle's Rest has become known for subtle, unexplained occurrences that many guests describe as both eerie and captivating, suggesting a lingering presence tied to the area's history. The lodge was originally built in the mid-20th century as a remote getaway for travelers and outdoor enthusiasts. Its location near Eagle River made it an ideal base for fishing, hiking, and exploring the rugged Alaskan wilderness. From its earliest days, visitors and staff began reporting odd experiences. Faint footsteps echoing through empty hallways, doors opening and closing without explanation, sudden chills, and fleeting shadows. Over time, these experiences became part of the lodge's mystique, with many believing that the building retains the energy of those who lived, worked, or passed through the area over the decades. Guests often report a sensation of being watched as soon as they enter the lodge. The hallways, cabins, and common areas seem to hum with invisible energy. Footsteps are heard in the still of the night, deliberate and steady, but when investigated, the halls are empty. Doors may swing open or closed, lights flicker unexpectedly, and objects sometimes shift without explanation. While some attribute these events to the quirks of an older log structure or the natural settling of the building, many sense a tangible presence, a reminder that the history of Eagle River and the lodge is never far from the present. Among the most frequently encountered spirits is believed to be a man who lived in the area during its early years, possibly a prospector or hunter. Guests describe seeing a figure wearing weathered clothing, boots, and a heavy coat, sometimes pacing along the lodge's decks or standing silently near windows overlooking the river. Locals speculate that he may have perished in the wilderness, his spirit returning to the lodge that once provided shelter, warmth, and safety. Visitors who report seeing him often describe a sense of melancholy, combined with an aura of vigilance, as though the spirit watches over the lodge and its surroundings without hostility. Another frequently reported apparition is a woman dressed in early 20th century attire. Guests often see her walking through hallways, pausing at windows, or sitting quietly in the common areas. She is described as ethereal, with a distant and sorrowful gaze, as if searching for someone lost long ago. Some speculate she may have been a settler, traveler, or naturalist, who met an untimely end in the region. Those who encounter her often experience a sudden chill or a profound sense of nostalgia, as if the lodge itself channels the memories and emotions of past lives. Her presence is generally non-threatening, but leaves a lasting impression of quiet melancholy. The cabins at the Eagle's Rest are known for unusual activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing whispers in the dark, or feeling a presence leaning over them as they sleep. Doors may open or close by themselves, and sudden drops in temperature are common even when heaters are running. Objects occasionally shift overnight, though no one else has been in the room. These subtle experiences contribute to the sense that the lodge preserves the energy of those who lived, worked, and sometimes died in the area, blending history with the present in ways that are both unsettling and captivating. Staff members are well acquainted with the lodge's peculiar tendencies. Many report shadows moving at the edge of their vision, footsteps echoing through empty hallways, and the sensation of being observed in unoccupied spaces. One longtime employee recalled walking down the main hallway late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, only for it to vanish when approached. Others have reported faint murmurs, whispers, or the soft sound of movement in spaces devoid of human presence. While these occurrences can be unsettling, they are rarely described as threatening. They feel more like echoes of lives once lived than spirits with malevolent intent. The surrounding wilderness seems to heighten these experiences. The forests, rivers, and mountains carry the weight of countless human interactions, both tragic and ordinary. Many believe that the lodge has absorbed the energy of those who braved the harsh terrain and left their mark on Eagle River. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Eagle's Rest report increased activity during quiet early mornings or late nights. EMF meters spike inexplicably. Audio recordings capture faint whispers or footsteps, and cameras occasionally record shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. The combination of isolation, history, and natural energy creates an atmosphere where the boundary between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Despite its haunted reputation, the Eagle's Rest remains a popular destination. Guests arrive for fishing, hiking, wildlife observation, and the serenity of the river and mountains. Yet many leave with stories of experiences they cannot explain. Shadowy figures glimpsed from the corner of the eye, sudden chills, or whispers in empty spaces are common, leaving visitors with the impression that the lodge is alive with echoes of the past. For some, the lodge becomes a bridge to history, connecting them to the lives of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished in the Alaskan wilderness. The lakefront anchorage, perched on the shores of Lake Spennard, offers guests an unparalleled combination of comfort, convenience, and natural beauty in the heart of Alaska's largest city. From its spacious rooms and lakeside views to the hum of seaplanes landing nearby, the hotel provides both a serene retreat and a gateway to adventure. Guests arrive to enjoy fishing, kayaking, hiking, or exploring Anchorage itself. Yet beneath the modern amenities and welcoming atmosphere, the lakefront Anchorage has developed a reputation for subtle and mysterious occurrences. Many visitors and staff have reported experiences that hint at the presence of lingering energy, echoes of the past, and phenomena that cannot be easily explained. Built in the latter half of the 20th century, the lakefront Anchorage was designed to take advantage of its unique location on Lake Spennard, offering guests the opportunity to watch the skies as seaplanes take off and land while enjoying the comfort of contemporary accommodations. Over the decades, however, stories of the unusual began to surface. Guests spoke of hearing footsteps in hallways when no one else was present, witnessing flickering lights that had no logical explanation, or sensing the presence of someone watching from the shadows. Staff members recounted objects moving on their own, doors opening and closing without cause, and sudden drops in temperature that left rooms icy despite working heating systems. While some of these experiences could be attributed to the quirks of an older building or the Alaskan climate, many felt a more tangible, unexplained presence permeating the hotel. Guests often describe a feeling of being observed as soon as they enter the lobby. Hallways, stairwells, and common areas seem to carry an unseen energy. Footsteps echo in the quiet of the night, deliberate and measured. Yet when investigated, no one is found. Doors may swing open or close on their own, lights flicker unexpectedly, and faint whispers sometimes drift through empty rooms. Some dismiss these events as figments of imagination or structural idiosyncrasies, but many report a strong sensation that the hotel retains the memories of those who have passed through over the years, creating a subtle but undeniable connection between past and present. One of the most frequently reported figures is thought to be that of an early traveler or worker associated with the area surrounding Lake Spennard. Guests describe seeing a man dressed in vintage clothing, often with a coat and boots suited for Alaska's cold climate. He is frequently observed pacing near the windows overlooking the lake or appearing on the hotel's decks in the early morning fog. Some speculate he may have been a pilot, fisherman, or railroad worker from decades past, whose life ended unexpectedly in the region. Visitors who encounter him often describe a sense of solemnity and reflection, as though the spirit is quietly observing the life of the hotel and its guests without any intention of harm. Another commonly reported presence is that of a woman dressed in early 20th century attire, often seen moving silently through hallways or pausing near windows that overlook the lake. Guests describe her as ethereal, sorrowful, and distant, as if searching for someone or something lost long ago. Some believe she may have been a pioneer, a traveler, or a resident whose life ended prematurely in Anchorage. Witnesses frequently experience a sudden chill, a feeling of heavy nostalgia, or an emotional weight in her presence, as if the hotel itself carries the energy and memories of her life. Her presence, while generally non-threatening, leaves an impression that lingers long after guests depart. The rooms at the lakefront Anchorage are known for unusual activity. Guests have reported waking to the sensation of someone sitting at the edge of their bed, hearing whispers in the darkness, or feeling a presence leaning over them. Doors may open or close without explanation, and sudden temperature drops are common, even when heating systems are fully operational. Objects sometimes shift overnight despite the absence of anyone else in the room. These experiences create a sense that the hotel preserves energy from past visitors and employees, blending history with the present in subtle, sometimes unsettling ways. Staff members are intimately familiar with the hotel's peculiarities. Many have recounted seeing shadows at the edges of their vision, hearing footsteps echo through empty corridors, or sensing an unseen presence in unoccupied spaces. One longtime employee recalled walking through the lobby late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the fireplace, only for it to vanish when approached. Others report faint murmurs, soft footsteps, or the sensation of being watched in areas devoid of people. While disconcerting, these phenomena are rarely hostile, appearing instead as echoes of the lives once lived within and around the hotel. The natural surroundings of Lake Spinard contribute to the atmosphere of subtle mystery. The lake, nearby forests, and distant mountains carry histories of human endeavor, exploration, and tragedy. Many believe that the hotel has absorbed some of this energy, manifesting in the subtle but persistent phenomena reported by guests and staff. Paranormal investigators who have visited the lakefront anchorage report heightened activity during quiet early mornings or late nights. When the lake is still and the surrounding wilderness is hushed, EMF meters spike without explanation. Audio recordings capture faint voices and footsteps, and cameras occasionally pick up shadowy figures or unexplained light anomalies. The combination of isolation, history, and natural energy creates an environment where the line between the living and the spiritual feels thin. Despite its reputation for the unexplained, the lakefront anchorage remains a sought-after destination. Guests come for kayaking, fishing, hiking, wildlife watching, and the convenience of the airport and city. Yet many leave with stories of experiences they cannot explain. Shadowy figures glimpsed from the corner of the eye, sudden chills, and whispers in empty spaces are common, leaving visitors with the sense that the hotel is alive with echoes of the past. For some, it becomes more than a place to stay. It is a bridge to the history of Anchorage, connecting visitors to the lives of those who lived, worked, and sometimes perished along Lake Spinard. As we journey through these haunted halls, remember that Alaska's beauty is not just in its landscapes, but in the stories that linger in the shadows. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these tales remind us that some places never let go.